Chapter 317. But Ning Cheng knew that it was almost enough. Even if he refuted this person's surnamed sin to the point that he was covered in cuts and bruises, in the end he would not be able to do anything to him, let alone really punish this person's surnamed senator. This was because he didn't know anyone who could support him. With his current strength, it was best for him to quit while he was ahead. Of course, Lord Sen has just arrived here and doesn't understand the situation. It's normal for some unruly commoners to complain about you. I believe that by now, Lord Sen should have already seen through everything. Ning Cheng chuckled as he spoke in a slow tone. The man surnamed Sen, whose forehead was dripping with cold sweat, suddenly came to his senses. That's right, he was an official of the legal tribunal office. How could he be afraid of the threat of a mere commoner? So what if he was telling the truth? He couldn't possibly report it to his boss, could he? Understanding this, the man surnamed Sen immediately regained his composure. His tone and demeanor returned to how they were when he first arrived. I will investigate this matter in detail. You guys stay at home and wait for the results of the investigation. Although he knew that Ning Cheng could not do anything to him, this man surnamed Sen also did not dare to continue to do anything to Ning Cheng. He had never seen a civilian who was so proficient in the laws of Yaluan City. He was even sure that even he was not as proficient in the laws of the Yaluan City as the commoner in front of him. Ning Cheng, on seeing this, cupped his fists and spoke. Such being the case, then Lord Sen, I will go back with my companions. I will keep an eye on the situation in the market square at all times. If there is any illegal activity, I will immediately report it to the legal tribunal office. Before he left, Ning Cheng also spoke a sentence that was neither light nor heavy. What he meant was that if this man surnamed Sen didn't give him face, then don't blame him for not giving him face. There was no way that the official surnamed Sen could not understand the meaning of these words. Ning Cheng, how are you so proficient in the laws of the Yaluan City? As soon as the three of them left the makeshift market, In Kong Chan asked in amazement. As soon as Ning Cheng found a place to live, the first thing he did was to purchase the laws of the Yaluan City. The laws of the Yaluan City were not limited to just one or two books, but rather several thick books, each of which was densely packed with tiny characters. Even if they had divine sense, it would take them a while to memorize it. Now that they didn't even have their divine sense, it was impossible for them to remember anything. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, I have a good memory, so I can remember a few things that are useful to me. The man waved his hand and said, I'm not asking you to return to his residence, but there's something else that I can help you However, she did not seem to be able to hold the dagger once again as his yellow fell to the ground. As long as he could extend his word about contracting this time, the dagger he was again pierced in the right shoulder. Once he opened this man then combination as she hurriedly told if an ordinary boy would be able to directly below definitely be much more dagger to the dagger. This fellow was just too clever. The next moment, many if I can get my hands on the dagger to once again, even if the dagger left good, he did not want moreover. The discretion is still too low. Dishes with white robe and went to buy roses and left with Princess Manchan and them who left after Ning Chang to his residence. He was still thinking about just when he felt that those eyes were some with the dagger strength. It was as if they were given somewhere privately. They would not have to set what's the matter. Ning Chang showed Princess Man's forehead with a post after dagger that she had understand. Ning Chang muttered to himself would he finally take although his eyes very ground of the familiar sat down opposite, but he did not want to do any hesitation for a while. Initially, he had taken a look at Princess Man's eyes as a man, but having did not have colored crystal shot for sake to amount at that time. The three of them saw Princess Man from step. So there are some things that felt that they were not able to leave it or not. The little man, you still want to go to like nodded and after getting aquatic essence. If we can go out since coming out of that connection with the midday man who had not together perhaps even Princess somewhere else is very with the connection. But if it was not allowed, then better for him. I would not instead of Ning Chang waved his hand, interrupting his coverage said it was somewhat otherwise to the princess man. There is presumably speak about dimension of his master. It doesn't matter if the white man about go to princess, but don't reaching out and take his hand to rusty spear. Man, if we could divine, I made an appointment in man's watch until tonight. But it was like he took out a small bottle with a carrying a long began back princess walking by definitely not called out it is because of her cultivation unexpectedly I know too much about severing herring down. She could clearly sever their lives and definitely could not refine this long but it did not look like they were only two possibilities. They still had a lingering even more whether she truly loved even if they were once very simple. You just have to choose that when they did not have any conversation with her. They were not non-sexual or the women then of course he would not be able to immediately wanted it. There was another possible time when she was outside of the long severe emotion riding her unicorn. You saw there was no way to refine the urgently making him cultivating the one that took out a city master also no fact the long blade because the back of the white rose never really do such a now because in another case would not turn big purple spear was not easily severed all the rust on the long moreover when only a purple spear left much iron rod appeared to be master also it is definitely a copy of the trio it is not something that would be white washing sitting rather it made his body even unknown she was a chill and then just so the very design she could still should like a spear the long spear that kind of long carrying was also for the day not ordinary when he cultivated not as good as the long was the back of the white rose hesitant what he lacked in those right now was not hesitant indiscriminate these were not the factors that wanted to go down white rose you can ask clearly have a look and such could not reach then you can imagine such a lot of otherwise for sale spear there are even random middle-aged increasingly fell but the preservation it was not enough for him to rely but this comment was beaten to the ground and the tone he holding on to city master made him feel that something was not right speak up he saw himself struck over the botanic garden and saw the most ordinary voice who was he now had a geocentric garden of day made him feel a trace of reality how the short sword had different what is the heavenly cup blocked he then told them about Princess even willing to burn his staff for him Although she was not an alchemy
it was
master,
such an
but she was
ordinary
still
man
very
breathing
familiar
flesh
with
and
most of the
waved at the
spiritual
grasses.
panic-stricken expression.
As for the
It was
heavenly
then he
cup
cupped his
not
fist
something
towards
she had
never
never
heard of
this
this before.
before.
I was
Ching
too
gave out
anxious
a
a moment
quickly
ago
and
was no longer
and drew the shape of the
heavenly
city
master
of the other city.
While
patiently
since you are
explained
not
the
the
characteristics
going
of
out,
the heavenly
you would have to
flower,
stay far away from his honorable guest.
He did not
other
like this
details.
kind of truth and
even
Princess
shook her head and
dare to speak
I have
any
not
more
seen
nonsense.
this kind of
Chapter
flower.
3
She
even
also
stared
the
at
first
Ning
time that
Ning
I had
Ning
dreamt of
She was
Ji
well aware of her father's
felt
ruthless
from the
body
side.
sticking to
Just
him.
based on her
complaint
a moment ago.
It didn't matter if she was
trembling
by
voice
Ning Ning
as she
trio
consciously
as he reached out and grabbed
trio
would also be
shoulder
light and excitedly
sound
and then
out.
thrown out to
Ning
me. Whereas this
feel
kind
that
of
something was
however,
wrong.
not
This
only
was
did
not
Ning Ning
at
not
all.
feel the heat,
This was
but
really
excited
greeted them
body
like he was embracing,
causing her heart
immediately
to
opened
tremble
his
as
eyes.
she spoke in a low
As
voice,
if thinking about how she was injured just now.
At this
It
time,
seemed a little
strange.
was already
There is a
bright,
surprise
and he
this
could
kind of
clearly
flower,
see
which was
Sue's
heavily
beautiful
staring at
face.
the
It looks
Ning
like
trio.
this very
completely unable to understand what was going on.
I will
definitely
go
her
there.
father be so
And she
polite
simply
to
did
Ning
not
Cheng
dare to look at Ning
as
Cheng.
vaguely glanced
Ning
at Ning
Cheng's
Cheng
hand
and
subconscious
Ning Cheng
moved a bit,
but did not
dare to
speak
speak
back
Day's
was
demeanor,
incomparably
but
smooth.
I have not
had
your
her
daughter's
daughter's
honorable
honorable
guest.
His hand
Suing
easily
Day's
slid
ago,
over
your daughter
rewarded
her
eyes
eyes
were
and
heaving
fell
and
on
watery,
spots
as if she could
outside
not
the
wait
only
for
a
Ning
thin
Cheng
belt
for which I am
around
very
her
grateful.
into his
That is
arms.
to say, because
Other
your
than
son
Cheng
Cheng
fancied
I inquired
about
how
how
he
he
would
would
not even
to
help him do things on her body, and then took away very uncomfortable with
Suing Day's voice
did I not come to your daughter's princess
it was
man?
very
She
light and
expressed gratitude, but Ning Cheng was able to hear clearly. Ning Cheng had been cultivating on a small his daughter's injuries had been rapidly body had a trace of Yamachi poison that had not been removed. He had come to collect his dead with the recent controlling of the guards quickly arrived in front of the Ning Cheng trio have the ability to do so. Last time outside the city, the reason why he was there to restrain himself from going out to look for a cold and indifferent voice because of his self-disciplined beast. Now that suddenly stood up, while his entire body down to lower their underwear, while touching him once again not good, and he wanted to fall out riding on the one hand. How could he bear it? He looked far more than similar to the princess man from the last Cheng's cultivation as she closed her eyes and his entire body hugged Ning Cheng with incomparably sharp expression in his eyes. Ning Cheng had taken the initiative to look for grabbing at Ning Cheng's continued to watch. Ning Cheng did not even think about it as he turned around and slapped you are kind of behind him. He did not need you really have one of the guards grabbed him. He raised his hand and was about to off Suing Day's underwear to test the law. Riding on the one-horned beast as her into the death row took the initiative to cater to his. Your courage is indeed crisp sounds emerged. Ning Cheng's door was once again open. I will also allow them to raise their heads. Sobered up from his this guy's mouth still overflowed with blood in a pan as she tried to cover her marks were left on both sides did not care about the dazzling the guards were so scared that they did not even dare to know what Ning Cheng the city master looked at the two women turned their heads to it could be said that he had reached the man riding clothes on their upper bodies. Usually he would not spoke out there into the words to mention this kind before she hurriedly blushed and spoke in shock. Why don't you wait for a while? Never Cheng such a beautiful woman in his entire she usually didn't care about. But the fact was that he did not when she saw it with her own eyes. He was different from other different place like the Ning Cheng in jail. Even if ordinary people, even someone clad that Prince Kumchan were shut, even his royal father was so cautious to have otherwise once this kind of thing happened. The laws of character did not dare to say anything too as he carefully walked towards Ning Cheng. I heard they found the location of the awakening seductual gate in the abandoned spiritual mountain. I'll go out if you wanted a woman. Put on your clothes. He didn't have to follow casually laws like ordinary civilians for a moment. Are they all you could answer? He heard the eyes of the man closing the door behind flickered as he asked in Dean Kumchan's face had did not dare to speak even half a word of nonsense person as he quickly took out a detailed note of his body and handed it to just about to speak. The man already abandoned spiritual mountain really willing to give herself to you all his location of the hearing spiritual answer disbelieving knew but the fact was that she had also read some of the laws of the Yalloon. How do I get to the abandoned spiritual mountain? I haven't done it yet. Get a robbing the abandoned spiritual mountain party was a prince. I saw the two could not openly rob each other to a guard in just one even if they wanted to snatch it. They had to do it in just a short place where no one ran over with the expression of the man on the unicorn changed a few times before he said, "Can you give these two women the map, kissing? You can name a price also took the map and looked at each other. One knew that under the
city masters flashed with a transfer of one's women. No wonder the Yaluan city is so prosperous. Before I left, don't say that you haven't used my master women with his divination. You should stay still and not move. I don't think that I don't know about it. Please take care of yourself. Indirect the man did not get angry when one still turned around and did not impurities in one's body before disappearing into the distance. But even the clear water I heard from and the dirt removal techniques that he obtained after nature left once they lost their power and the prince called out almost during these to return into ordinary had not yet spoken. Ordinary people came forward and it was normal for them to understand what this person had come here for. Already better that he did not come here for to go back first. Therefore, nor was he here had been guarded away using it, but rather because of his ability. So you were already preparing for it. Princess Man and the prince immediately understood cultivated Ching would know about this man and according to this little man, which can easily have guessed the aquatic injuries were definitely caused by that the aquatic essence and gave him in the white Princess Man has come back, and now he specifically asked you to go to her residence. Previously, I am afraid that she will do some person's cultivation was above mine, so you have to think of a way. So I tried to stabilize him and then mobilize the army outside the city to kill him. The prince having some relationship until here, they would have one's eyes revealed extreme fear. But he finally asked where the abandoned spiritual mountain was, then I will go on a killing spree, even if it is the city master's mansion. I will still go and destroy. Princess Man's tone was filled with unwillingness, hearing Ning Cheng's words, clenched her instead fists. Lowered her head and did not dare to speak again. Spoke in she had also voice. Broken in a moment ago here, and who doesn't know about the abandoned spiritual mountain? Ning Cheng did not seem to have any intention to kill her. Must have come from the outside. When he first came in, he was affected by the laws here, so his cultivation was sealed, allowing little man to easily punish him with 3 blades and 6 holes. But now that he has at least recovered a part of his cultivation, and did not even use his hands or feet, it can be seen from the fact that he was able to injure little man. Wasn't it said that when people from the outside came in, all of their cultivation would be completely sealed? The prince asked in shock. This is the terrifying thing about this person, he is definitely not an ordinary person. To be able to unlock the seal on his cultivation in this place, how could he be simple? If he really came from the outside, then even if my Yaluan city's army completely surrounded him, it would only cause rivers of blood, and would not have any effect on him. Moreover, his last words were a warning to me. If I dared to send the army to intercept him, then it would be absolutely unimaginable. Yi Zhonghuan's tone became more and more severe as he spoke. Princess Man and the prince immediately broke out in cold sweat, especially Princess Man. She finally understood why the other party was so arrogant and did not put her in his eyes at all. Then why did he spare us? Why did he spare my little sister? I once heard that people from the outside are extremely cruel and merciless, and would never put the lives of ordinary people in their eyes. Not to mention a massacre, even if they wanted to destroy a country, they would not even blink. The prince asked again. Yi Zhonghuan frowned and spoke. I don't understand. I once heard that the cultivators from the outside are called cultivators. It stands to reason that once a cultivator comes in, it would never be so easy to talk to them. Should we send someone to give it a try first? Princess Man still felt somewhat unwilling in her heart. Yi Zhonghuan spoke in a stern tone. This matter cannot be mentioned again, whether he is a cultivator from the outside or not. It is already a blessing for us. Ning Cheng's trio came out of the Yaluan city's central gate, which shocked all the people who saw them. This was the entrance to the city master's mansion, yet 3 ordinary people dared to do such a thing? Some of the people who wanted to make a fortune had already gone to complain. Did you say that last sentence deliberately? After walking out of the city gate, In Kong-chan glanced at Ning Cheng. She was very clear about the meaning of Ning Cheng's last sentence. That is, if Yi Zhonghuan really dared to bring the army to intercept him, then Ning Cheng would definitely kill him. As a cultivator from a major academy, In Kong-chan really did not understand why Ning Cheng would let go of the Yaluan city's city master. Now that he had recovered his strength, it was more important for him to settle grudges quickly. Although the laws of the Yaluan city are a bit harsh, but compared to other places, it is still a lot better, so I am not willing to kill. Ning Cheng finished speaking and took out an airship-type magical weapon. Let's go. Once we reach the abandoned spiritual mountain, we can then leave this forsaken land. Chapter 322. Yin Kongchan glanced at the airship that Ning Cheng had brought out but did not speak. She was very clear that the flight-type magical weapon that she had left behind for Ning Cheng was not this airship. If this airship was not given to him by Su Yingde, then it meant that Ning Cheng had another storage-type magical weapon. At this moment, she really wanted to ask if Ning Cheng's geocentric 9 Yin essence had truly been taken away by her. After Ning Cheng took out the airship, he immediately became aware of Yin Kongchan's gaze. He was a smart person and instantly understood Yin Kongchan's thoughts. However, he also did not care about it. Many cultivators would not only have one storage magic treasure, so it was not a strange thing for him to have two. He was sure that Yin Kongchan would not have the face to ask about the geocentric 9 Yin essence. If Yin Kongchan really asked about it, then he would definitely not give it to her. If Yin Kongchan did not ask about it, then in the future if he obtained more of the geocentric 9 Yin essence, then he might even give it to Yin Kongchan. The prerequisite was that he had to come out of the bottom of the Blood River Mountain. After Ning Cheng took control of the airship, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde both knew that Ning Cheng had not only recovered, but he had also completely recovered. The three of them each had their own thoughts. For a moment, there was silence, and no one spoke. Even if Ning Cheng's speed was not fast, it could even be said to be slow. Following the map, he arrived at the abandoned spiritual mountain and quickly found the awakening spiritual gate. At this time, at a place far away from the awakening spiritual gate, there were dozens of soldiers hiding and guarding this place. As soon as Ning Cheng arrived, these people immediately surrounded him. Ning Cheng did not waste any time, as he stimulated his true essence and threw all the guards a few dozen feet away, before shouting, "There is nothing for you to do here, go back and tell Yi Zhonghuan, this time he is tactful. If you dare to allow the people of the City Lord's mansion to show off again, I will crush the City Lord's mansion into dust." Scram. In the face of such a powerful Ning Cheng, these guards did not dare to utter even half a word of nonsense, as they quickly got up, and in just a moment, not a single one of them remained. After all the guards escaped, Ning Cheng finally had the time to observe the awakening spiritual gate. The awakening spirit gate looked no different from an ordinary gate, but outside the awakening spirit gate, there was a kind of vine-like plant. These vine-like plants wrapped the entire door like the legs of an octopus. This vine-like plant wrapped the entire door, making it look like the legs of an octopus. This door was completely wrapped by these vines, making it look no different from an ordinary plant out. The door was completely wrapped in green vines and looked no different from an ordinary plant. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on this vine-like thing, but he had not yet started, when several green vines suddenly jumped out from the door and rolled towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng quickly took Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan and quickly retreated, narrowly avoiding the vines. "Ai-chan, Su out. This is a rank 6 demon plant. Even a profound core cultivator would not necessarily be its opponent. That prince is simply crazy to actually let an ordinary person like you deal with this human-devouring rattan." Yin Kongchan spoke in a horrified voice. "Tian, to say, out. Ha, found it, awakening spirit gate has finally been found by me." A wild laughter sounded, and then two men rushed over. The lean man walking in front on seeing the Ning Cheng trio immediately shouted, "Fuck off, this is not a place for ants like you to come." "Wait." The strong-looking man behind him looked straight at Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, as he swallowed a mouthful of saliva and spoke, "Elder Brother Wan, look at these two women." While speaking, he once again swallowed a mouthful of saliva and spoke, "So beautiful, if only—" The lean man also stopped, as he looked at Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan in amazement. He also felt that these two women were inconceivably beautiful. However, he did not show the same pig-like appearance as the strong-looking man behind him, and spoke in a cold voice, "Chengji, the wife in your house is also not bad. I am wholeheartedly pursuing higher things. If you like these two women, then I suggest you take them home and live happily ever after. You are not suitable for what I am pursuing." The strong-looking man forcibly took back his gaze from the two women. "Elder Brother Wan, since I am ready to rush out of this place, then I have already made up my mind. how can I not be firm in my confidence? Come on, let's go and open the spiritual gate together. This man seemed to want to prove his words, as he took the first step forward. The lean-looking man glanced at Ning Cheng and sneered, "If the two of us arrive at the awakening spirit gate, and the three of you have not left, then there is no need for you to leave." Saying that, he also rushed forward. The two of them had not yet reached the awakening spirit gate, when dozens of human-devouring rattans stretched out from the top of the awakening spirit gate, surrounding the two of them. However, the two of them did not panic, as they grabbed the long knives in their hands and chopped down. However, when their knives chopped down on the human-devouring rattans, it was as if they were chopping steel, as not even a trace appeared on it. Two pitiful screams erupted, as the human-devouring rattans instantly wrapped around the two of them, while simultaneously dragging them to the top of the awakening spirit gate. The Ning Cheng trio could clearly see that the two of them were gradually withering away, and finally, not to mention their clothes, even the steel knives that they were holding in their hands had completely disappeared. What a powerful human-devouring rattan! Ning Cheng spoke with a sigh. If his cultivation had not been restored, then even if he came here, he could only stare helplessly. This kind of human-devouring rattan, not to mention his tri-edged thorn, even if he had a spiritual artifact long knife, it would still be useless. Ning Cheng stepped forward and directly brought out his true cosmic devil axe. Countless human-devouring rattans rolled out, locking the true cosmic devil axe in place. With a twist of the true cosmic devil axe, it broke free from these human-devouring rattans, while the true cosmic devil axe completely twisted apart these long vines. But what made Ning Cheng horrified was that after these human-devouring rattans were twisted apart, new vines quickly grew out. Moreover, these human-devouring rattans that were broken apart on the ground were still jumping, as if they could entangle a person at any time. What a powerful thing! Ning Cheng knew that this kind of thing, other than using fire to burn them all, even if he used a magical weapon to cut them apart, it would not have even half a shred of effect. Ning Cheng put away the true cosmic devil axe and threw out several fireballs. The human-devouring rattans that Ning Cheng had cut apart on the ground quickly turned into flying ash under the fireballs, disappearing without a trace. However, the human-devouring rattans that were growing on the awakening spiritual door were not affected in the slightest. The fireballs at most caused the leaves of the human-devouring rattans to wither a little, but in an instant, these leaves once again returned to their original state. Ordinary fireballs cannot burn them. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde suddenly became worried. Once Ning Cheng's fireballs could not burn these human-devouring rattans, then they would not be able to leave this place. Ning Cheng gave a snort and took a few steps forward, and once again threw out dozens of fireballs, while at the same time forcibly stimulated the Star River in his Zifu. The Star River trembled slightly, and a scorching hot aura was sent by Ning Cheng to the human-devouring rattans on the awakening spiritual door. Boom! Just like dry firewood poured with oil, the flames on the human-devouring rattans instantly sprang up, and in just a few breaths of time, the flames completely disappeared. Moreover, the human-devouring rattans on the awakening spiritual door no longer existed. Ning Cheng was secretly shocked in his heart. He had never seen such a powerful flame. The Azure River had not yet sprouted. Once the Star River sprouted, just how terrifying would it be? Compared to his true fire, it was countless times stronger. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde also looked at Ning Cheng. The flames just a moment ago were just too terrifying. Ning Cheng smiled. I had burned my true essence a moment ago. I did not think that it would really be useful. Now let me try. Saying that, Ning Cheng once again brought out his cosmic true devil axe. Not waiting for his axe to strike the huge stone door, the stone door unexpectedly automatically opened. Hey, the awakening spiritual door opened automatically. Ning Cheng was stunned for a moment, before he immediately spoke to Su Yingde. Junior apprentice Sister Yingde, you quickly come over. Su Yingde, on hearing Ning Cheng's words, quickly walked over to Ning Cheng's side. Yin Kongchan also silently walked over. Before, Ning Cheng's attitude towards her and Su Yingde was the same, but now Ning Cheng's attitude towards Su Yingde was obviously different from hers. Let's go in. Ning Cheng grabbed Su Yingdai's hand and took a step into the awakening spiritual door. Yin Kongchan also did not hesitate and followed Ning Cheng with a step. A burst of intense dizziness swept over them, causing the three people's thoughts to stagnate in an instant. Bang bang bang, the three people sobered up almost at the same time as a strong spiritual chi swept over them, causing the three people to almost moan in comfort. We came out. Yin Kongchan could feel that her cultivation had completely recovered, causing her voice to tremble slightly. Only by losing something would one know how precious it was to have it. We really came out. Su Yingdai also spoke out in surprise, but her hand was still holding on to Ning Cheng's hand and did not let go. What is this place? Ning Cheng looked at the desolate surroundings in doubt, as he did not know where he had been transferred to. Yin Kongchan glanced at Ning Cheng and Su Yingdai holding hands together and spoke. This is the Tian continent. It is definitely not wrong. I do not know where this place is, but I have been here once before. Big brother Ning, I want to go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with you, and then. Su Yingdai tightly held onto Ning Cheng's hand as she spoke in a shy voice. Ning Cheng suddenly sobered up, although he took care of Su Yingdai compared to Yin Kongchan, but Su Yingdai's expression clearly indicated that she wanted to talk to him about something important, something that he was not mentally prepared for. Thinking back to the time when Su Yingdai came to his bed in the early hours of the morning, Ning Cheng did not know what to say. At that time, he had almost taken Su Yingdai. The places that people could touch were all touched by him. How could he just wipe his mouth and forget about it? However, in the depths of his heart, Ji Luofei's position had never wavered. The feeling of being together with Ji Luofei and the feeling of being together with Su Yingdai were completely different. I'm leaving, thank you Ning Cheng. Yin Kongchan, who was looking at the two people in the distance, suddenly spoke up. Having said that, she had already taken out her shuttle. As the shuttle left, Ning Cheng once again received a sound transmission. The secret of my body, please help me keep it, Kongchan thanks you. Chapter 323. Although Yin Kongchan left, Su Yingdai did not care about it. Instead, she turned around and faced Ning Cheng. Her eyes were blazing hot, as if she was asking Ning Cheng, "You haven't answered me yet." Ning Cheng was a bit taller than Su Yingdai. As such, when he looked down, he could see the faint snow-white hooks on Su Yingdai's neck. At this moment, his mind once again replayed the scene of Su Yingdai stripping naked. Ning Cheng's hands subconsciously tightened. Just as Yin Kongchan had said, he was not a saint. Feeling that Ning Cheng's hand had slightly tightened, Su Yingdai once again let out a moan sound as she threw herself onto Ning Cheng's chest, even squeezing her whole body into Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng's breathing quickened as he tightly hugged Su Yingdai. Su Yingdai's incomparably soft body, coupled with that faint fragrance, made Ning Cheng feel hot. He could even sense that there was an aura of love within the fragrance. Su Yingdai also felt Ning Cheng's fiery hot body pressing against her lower abdomen. She certainly understood what it was. She did not close her eyes this time, but opened her eyes wide and looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng could clearly see the watery charm in Su Yingdai's eyes, as well as the longing in her eyes. Su Yingdai's neck was suffused with this kind of seductive charm and turned into a light red color. This light red color coupled with her incomparably white skin made people tremble in fear. "Now you want me." Su Yingdai's fragrant breath blew onto Ning Cheng's face, giving off a deep and distant feeling. Ning Cheng could no longer hold back his own needs. People would always change. Su Yingdai was no longer the Su Yingdai from before. Ning Cheng did not speak. He picked up Su Yingdai, and the actions of his hands showed his thoughts. A white-robed woman, who seemed to be treading on clouds, was looking at Su Yingdai and Ning Cheng from a distant place. When she saw Ning Cheng passionately holding Su Yingdai in his arms, and even putting his hand into Su Yingdai's clothes, she gave out a slight sigh. No one understood Su Yingdai better than her, and no one understood the severing emotions Dao sect better than her. "Ning Cheng, I really like you, thank you for also liking me. Now I have to go." Su Yingdai's voice was soft and sad. Ning Cheng was slightly surprised for a moment, But before he could even speak, a faintly discernible sharp sword had already passed through his core lake. The next moment his entire body felt as if it was being torn apart. At this moment, Ning Qing knew that he had been plotted against by Su Yingde, but he clearly did not see Su Yingde use any kind of magical weapon, nor did he see Su Yingde use any kind of attack. Ning Cheng's hand loosened, allowing Su Yingde to fall to the ground. But Su Yingde stood firmly and did not fall, while Ning Qing fell to the ground. At this time Ning Qing could clearly feel the sharp sword that had pierced through his core lake. No, to be exact, it was a sharp sword that he could not even touch. He couldn't sense the shape, color, or any other information about the sword. The only thing he could feel was that his core lake had indeed been pierced by a sharp sword. At this moment, Ning Qing did not get angry, he did not even ask why. The moment he was pierced by the sharp sword, Ning Qing finally understood the relationship between desire and love. Because there was no love, he was not angry. Su Yingde had severed her emotions. What she had severed was her own emotions. It had nothing to do with him. He doubted Yin Kongchan's words. Yin Kongchan had said that as long as they entered into dual cultivation, she would not be able to successfully sever her emotions. But in the early hours of the morning, Su Yingde had clearly wanted to enter into dual cultivation with him. So why was Su Yingde still so ruthless? He started to think about whether Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan had joined forces to plot against him. If Yin Kongchan was really plotting against him, then her acting skills had already reached an unparalleled level. In the Severing Emotions Dao sect, I have been cultivating the Severing Emotions cultivation method since childhood. All the obsessions, impurities, emotions, desires, under the influence of the Severing Emotions cultivation method, they would all condense into a sword of severing emotions. The sword of severing emotions is silent, colorless, tasteless, formless, and intangible. When severing emotions, the sword of severing emotions would cut into the body of the lover, and the sword of severing emotions would slowly cut off everything about you. Su Yingde spoke slowly, her eyes were calm, but Ning Qing could feel that she was completely different from before. If she still had some emotions before, then at this moment, there was only an aura of pursuing the great Tao circulating around her. I only hope that your love for me is not that deep, so that you would suffer less. You would not be in pain for 3,600 days, and then turn into a cripple. Ning Qing still did not speak. When he was cut off by the sword of severing emotions, his entire body felt like it was about to tear apart, but the pain only lasted for a few breaths. At this time, apart from not having any strength, he no longer felt any pain. At this moment, Ning Qing understood that Su Yingde was right about one thing: the less love, the less pain. He did not really love Su Yingde to the bone, to put it bluntly. He felt more apologetic towards Su Yingde, but also a kind of resonance. The impulse from before was because of a normal man's normal choice. Perhaps it was because of this that the tearing pain in his body quickly disappeared. Ning Qing was secretly afraid in his heart. If Su Yingde really became his wife, then with his personality, he was afraid that he would never be able to forget this woman. Fortunately, Su Yingde was a bit impatient and did not have the time to do it before she decided to sever her emotions. Now, as long as Su Yingde did not kill him, he was absolutely sure that he could melt away the sword of severing emotions and at the same time restore his core lake. To put it bluntly, Su Yingde simply did not understand love. For a person who did not understand love, to use empty words to sever her emotions, the Severing Emotions Dao sect was truly ridiculous. Su Yingde once again looked at Ning Qing and spoke. Severing my emotions is not heartless. Thank you for saving me. I know that you will also suffer in the future, so I might as well give you a quick death. Ning Qing secretly cried out in his heart. When a faintly discernible flame wrapped around him, the terrifying flame made it so that he could not even shout out. Glancing at Ning Qing, who was surrounded by the faintly discernible flame, Su Yingde slowly walked to a distance, waved her hand and scattered out countless array flags, while at the same time sprinkling out countless spirit stones. A pill fell into her mouth, and the next moment her imposing aura skyrocketed. Even the sky began to turn dark. Only the people from the Severing Emotions Dao sect knew that Su Yingde was about to advance to the soul-sculpting realm. The people from the Severing Emotions Dao sect, after severing their emotions, would immediately advance. This was also a consistent method of the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Moreover, the most suitable stage to sever one's emotions was before the soul essence realm, or before the soul sculpting realm to sever one's emotions. Boom boom boom. The first wave of thunder resounded in the distance. Su Yingday's complexion was calm and tranquil. She had already forgotten about Ning Cheng, who was countless miles away. After she advanced to the soul sculpting realm, she would no longer have Ning Cheng in her heart. The terrifying flame trapped Ning Cheng, not to mention that Ning Cheng was unable to stimulate the celestial river at this moment. Even if he could stimulate the celestial river, he would not be able to extinguish these flames. These flames were completely different from ordinary flames. As such, he did not know what kind of flames they were. Under this kind of fire, the desperate need for a woman almost burned him from the inside out. Regardless of whether Su Yingday was vicious or not, Ning Cheng did not have the mind to care about it at this moment. He could not even control himself at this moment. Burning flames of lust? The white-robed woman who had been watching from a distance landed in front of Ning Cheng as she spoke out a single sentence. Then she looked up at Su Yingday, who was crossing her tribulation in the distance, before giving out a sigh and speaking. Not only did she sever her emotions, but she also severed the burning flames of lust. Saying that, she looked down at Ning Cheng, who was struggling with the burning flames of lust, shook her head, and unexpectedly reached out with her hands to pick up Ning Cheng. The burning flames of lust on Ning Cheng's body did not have even the slightest effect on her body. The white-robed woman turned around and took a step forward, before disappearing without a trace in a twinkling of an eye. No one could eliminate the burning flames of lust. Even if it was the white-robed woman who rescued Ning Cheng, she would not be able to eliminate the burning flames on Ning Cheng's body. The only thing she could do was to give Ning Cheng a few spiritual ice pills. The spiritual ice pills turned into a trace of coldness, allowing Ning Cheng to sober up for a short moment, allowing him to feel that he was being taken away by someone. Ning Cheng forcibly revolved his true essence, wanting to dissolve the burning flames of lust and the sword of severing emotions, but no matter how hard he tried, the burning flames of lust only grew stronger and stronger. He vaguely saw a woman sitting in front of him. If he had the strength at this moment, he would have thrown himself at this woman. However, Ning Cheng knew that even if he wanted to, he would not do such a thing. This woman had saved him. Even if he was burned to death by the burning flames of lust, he would not do such a thing. He had his own pride and bottom line. As the effects of the spiritual ice pills gradually faded, Ning Cheng once again began to feel confused, while his mouth turned dry. Any kind of cultivation method was being operated by him indiscriminately, regardless of whether it was useful or not. Suddenly Ning Cheng felt that the faint flames in his body had been contained, and at this time another spiritual ice pill fell into his mouth. Ning Cheng's consciousness once again sobered up, and he immediately understood what was going on. Just now, when he had operated the embracing Yang God tactic, the burning flames of lust had unexpectedly been contained. Not only was it contained, but it had also turned into a force that impacted his corporeal body, allowing his corporeal body to grow stronger. Ning Cheng suddenly came to understand the embracing Yang God tactic was not a cultivation method, but turned out to be a body-forging cultivation method. Any kind of torment to the corporeal body, under the influence of the embracing Yang God tactic, could be transformed into an impact force that could condense the corporeal body. After understanding this point, Ning Cheng slowly calmed down. He was constantly operating the embracing Yang God tactic, and the burning flames of lust was gradually being refined by him. Although there was still a terrible desire dominating him, but he was able to control it. The severing emotions sword that had pierced through his core lake, under the influence of the embracing Yang God tactic, melted away like ice and snow. Moreover, the damaged core lake, under the influence of the mysterious yellow aura, was instantly restored. Not knowing how long had passed, Ning Cheng's cultivation was finally restored. Ning Cheng opened his eyes, and when he saw that the person sitting in front of him turned out to be a woman who, whether it was temperament or appearance, was even more beautiful and noble than Su Yingday, he was immediately stunned. This kind of noble temperament he had only ever seen in one person, and that was elder sister Shu. But this white-robed woman in front of him was obviously not elder sister Shu. She was like a fairy that came from above the ninth heaven. As long as one looked at her, one would feel a sense of tranquility. Don't move around, your situation is very bad. The white-robed woman spoke out in a soft voice. For you, why did you save me? At the moment when Su Yingde severed her emotions, Ning Cheng had completely matured. The strong desire was still churning in his body, but he was barely able to control it. I'm called Shi Qianghua, Su Yingde's master. The white-robed woman spoke to Ning Cheng in a very soft tone. It was completely different from the indifference she would have when speaking to others. Ning Cheng's complexion immediately changed. It was the severing emotions Dao sect again. Initially, when he had gone to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to propose a marriage for Su Yingde, he had heard that it was this woman. The disciple had severed her emotions on this father's body, and now the master had also come to sever her emotions? This father came from earth. It is not that I do not know how to be black, it is just that I do not like it. Do you all think that I am easy to bully? Ning Cheng suddenly covered his chest. Shi Qianghua was just about to investigate Ning Cheng's situation, when Ning Cheng, who was right in front of her, suddenly raised his hand like lightning, and several shadows that she could not even see exploded on Shi Qianghua's body. Chapter 324. Shi Qianghua had never thought that Ning Cheng, who in her eyes did not even have half a shred of strength, would suddenly explode. Even if her cultivation was a lot higher than Ning Cheng's, in the case where she was caught unprepared, and at such a short distance, she was still hit by the explosion head-on. For those who had their emotions severed by the sword of severing emotion, how could they still have the power to resist? And there was even an attack that could burn one's body? It was even more impossible to resist, but how did Ning Cheng do it? Not waiting for her to even think about it, Ning Cheng's two hands were just like flowers fluttering in the wind as they continuously bombarded Shi Qianghua's body. He did not care whether Shi Qianghua was a woman or not. Although Shi Qianghua was angry at Ning Cheng for suddenly launching a sneak attack, but she did not put Ning Cheng in her eyes. The difference between her and Ning Cheng's cultivation was simply too big. Even if she was restrained, she could undo it in a breath's time. However, Shi Qianghua soon felt that something was wrong. Ning Cheng was not simply suppressing her, rather Ning Cheng's technique was just like an array flag, which completely imprisoned her Zifu and Dantian. Not only was she unable to use her spiritual sense, but even her true essence was completely imprisoned. The Forsaken Land. Shi Qianghua called out in horror. She had obtained an introduction about the spiritual consciousness and true essence in the Forsaken Land. Ning Cheng's technique was exactly the same as the one used to imprison true essence and spiritual consciousness in the Forsaken Land. How could Ning City be related to this ancient Forsaken Land? And he even knew the method to imprison divine sense in the Forsaken Land? Although she knew a little about the confinement techniques of the Forsaken Land, she definitely wouldn't be able to do it. While Shi Qianghua was still in a state of shock, Ning Cheng had already completely sealed Shi Qianghua. The next moment, Ning Cheng raised his hand and tore off the white robes covering Shi Qianghua's body. A kind of virgin fragrance that almost made Ning Cheng dizzy. Ning Cheng stared blankly at Shi Qianghua's beautiful body. At this moment he did not know if he was drunk, or if he felt that he was wrong. He had already seen Yin Kongshan and Su Yingde's bodies. If someone said that there was a woman with a body more perfect than these two women, Ning Cheng would not believe it. But now he believed it. Shi Qianghua's body was the most beautiful masterpiece of the Creator. It was so perfect that no words could describe it. Ning Cheng sobered up at this moment, but when he saw the two dark red spots, the desire in his body once again rushed up. Ning Cheng, without any hesitation, tore off his clothes and pressed himself against her, without any prelude, without any unnecessary movements. At least at this moment, he did not feel any psychological burden towards Shi Qianghua. Would a woman from the Severing Emotions Dao sect save him? Other than looking for him to sever his emotions, what other matters could there be? Since they wanted to find him to sever their emotions, then they would have to pay the price first. He, Ning Cheng, was not a person who could be easily bullied. Shi Qianghua was shocked by Ning Cheng's brutality at this moment. She had always been a celestial fairy-like existence in the mortal world, so when had she ever seen such a stance? At this moment she even forgot to resist. Ning Cheng had already sealed her, yet he still wanted to do such a thing? When Ning Cheng tore off his clothes and pressed down on her, her face instantly turned pale. She could clearly feel Ning Cheng's desire. She wanted to push Ning Cheng away, but her cultivation was sealed. Ning Cheng's incomparably strong body, coupled with his masculine aura, caused her body to have a shy reaction. She had never imagined that she would have such a reaction one day. Shi Qianghua immediately knew that if she did not immediately break through her cultivation, she would lose her chastity. Ning Cheng's body was burning hot, as well as that kind of desire. At this moment she was clearer than anyone else. Ka. Shi Qianghua's cultivation was far stronger than Ning Cheng by countless times. Even if Ning Cheng used the technique that he had just comprehended from the Forsaken Land, it was still not enough in front of Shi Qianghua. When she began to attack the seals on her body, Ning Cheng's incomparably powerful seals, just like fireworks, completely shattered. A burst of stabbing pain came, causing Shi Qianghua to be stunned for a moment. She even forgot to continue to unlock the seals on her body. At this moment, she clearly felt that Ning Cheng had already taken possession of her. Even if she unlocked the seals, so what? 2 lines of tears fell from the corners of her eyes. More than 30 years of chastity, unexpectedly was so easily taken away by Ning Cheng. She did not understand why Ning Cheng would do such a thing. She had investigated a lot of things about Ning Cheng. She was also proficient in divination, and was able to calculate a lot of things. Ning Cheng was a very kind and principled person, so why would such a person treat her like this? In any case, she was also Ning Cheng's savior. Was it because of Su Yingde? But if it really was because of Su Yingde, then she would be the most wrong victim. Except for Su Yingde and Su Yingde's grandmother, no one else knew her position in the Severing Emotions Dao sect. As the pain disappeared, bursts of involuntary reactions surged up from her body. Even with Shi Qianghua's cultivation, she was unexpectedly unable to control the reactions of her body. Shi Qianghua bit her lips, did not move, nor did she make even the slightest sound, allowing Ning Cheng to crazily run through her body in the most primitive way. She could feel the burning desire in Ning Cheng's body, which gradually dissipated along with the movements on her body. Cultivating the burning body yang qi poison in the spirit domain, the mysterious yellow aura, the starry skies flame seed, the everlasting blue thunder city. Except for the mysterious yellow bead that would automatically hide itself, all of Ning Cheng's secrets were completely exposed in front of Shi Qianghua at this moment. Shi Qianghua even forgot about the shame and the pleasant feeling in her body. She did not expect that Ning Cheng would have so many secrets. Puff. Ning Cheng gave a long sigh. At this moment he felt the burning body yang qi in his body completely dissipate. His whole person felt as if it had been washed by the rain of the immortal world, as if it had been washed away, and was now bursting with energy. As long as he was willing, the next moment he could advance to the great circle of the profound core realm. Ning Cheng climbed up from Shi Qianghua's body with some guilt, although he did not feel any guilt before, but after he really did it, he was still unable to get over this hurdle in his heart. He was very clear that the reason he had used to force himself on Shi Qianghua was somewhat far-fetched. Regardless of whether Shi Qianghua would use him to sever her emotions, at least it had not started yet. Even if it had started, whether Shi Qianghua would be able to sever her emotions or not, it was all up to him. Moreover, how could the accounts of a master and a disciple be linked together? These were simply 2 different things. At that time, he had been burning with desire, and had found an excuse for himself to do Shi Qianghua. Now that the burning body yang qi and the burning desire had disappeared, he felt somewhat sorry for Shi Qianghua. Fortunately, Shi Qianghua's cultivation was currently sealed by him. Otherwise, with this woman's cultivation, it would only take a second for her to turn him into flying ash. I'm sorry, but your disciple tried to sever her emotions on me, causing me to end up in a miserable state. So before you could sever your emotions, I had to deal with you first. Ning Cheng looked at Shi Qianghua, who was staring at him, and felt a bit scared in his heart as he spoke out in a stubborn manner. Even he himself blushed at the thought of such a reason. This reason was not shameless, rather it was simply too shameless. Shi Qianghua did not speak, she just sat up and once again took out a set of clothes from her ring and slowly put it on. Ning Cheng looked at Shi Qianghua's actions in shock, and spoke out in a trembling voice after a long while, "Can you move on your own?" He immediately remembered that when he and Shi Qianghua were doing it, Shi Qianghua did not seem to be in a sealed state. Cold sweat slowly trickled down Ning Cheng's forehead. Shi Qianghua definitely had the cultivation of crucible transformation realm. If such a person wanted to kill him, Ning Cheng did not dare to think about it. He secretly took out the talisman that he had used to enter the bottom of the blood river. Shi Qianghua had already put on her clothes. She glanced at Ning Cheng's hand that was secretly grabbing the talisman, and spoke out in a calm voice. "After you entered my body, I can move. What you did before is equivalent to paying off Su Yingday's debt. You do not have to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect again, and also do not have to look for Su Yingday again. In the future, do not casually get together with other women. I thought that you wanted to sever your emotions on me, so... Ning Cheng awkwardly tried to defend himself, but this kind of explanation made him feel ashamed. At this moment, he did not feel any killing intent coming from Shi Qianghua. Shi Qianghua glanced at Ning Cheng, as if she wanted to say something, but in the end she did not speak. She was Su Yingday's master in name, but she was not a person from the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Moreover, she had never cultivated the cultivation methods of the Severing Emotions Dao sect. As such, she did not need to sever her emotions at all. Moreover, Su Yingday's cultivation method was not taught by her, but rather by Su Yingday's grandmother. When she went to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for Su Yingday's marriage, she also did not take the initiative to go, rather someone had ordered her to go. She put away the bedsheet that was stained with a bright red color, and calmly walked out. Looking at the white figure getting further and further away, Ning Cheng suddenly felt a strong sense of loss in his heart. He chased after her outside, but Shi Qianghua's figure had already disappeared. Even his spiritual consciousness could not sweep her out. Looking at the endless wilderness, Ning Cheng felt a kind of torment and a deep sense of melancholy. He felt as if he had done something wrong. This mistake was not because he forced himself on Shi Qianghua, but because when Shi Qianghua left, he did not even say a single word. Ning Cheng returned to his residence, and found that the place that Shi Qianghua had found was a temporary immortal cave. Even now, Ning Cheng could not understand why Shi Qianghua wanted to save him. When he had forcibly violated her, why did she not kill him? Shi Qianghua had said that it was for Su Yingday's debt, but the last sentence was to tell him not to casually approach other women. Since it had nothing to do with him, then why did she have to remind him? Ning Cheng sighed. Before he had done it with Shi Qianghua, he did not think much about it. But after Shi Qianghua turned into his woman, he found that he could not forget her. If Shi Qianghua tried to sever her emotions at this time, he would definitely not be able to escape. He would even be willing to be cut by her sword. The impression and feelings that he had with Su Yingday for such a long time, unexpectedly was not even a 10,000th of the time that he and Shi Qianghua had spent together. Even during this time, he was still in a coma. After sitting in the cave for a long time, Ning Cheng put away everything in the immortal cave, including Shi Qianghua's torn clothes, before turning around and leaving the place where he had lost his first time. He wanted to find a place to advance to the Soul Essence realm, and then make a trip to the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Not to mention that the Heavenly Cusp flower might be in the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Even if it was for Shi Qianghua, he still wanted to inquire about it. As for Su Yingday, Ning Cheng had long since erased her memories. Su Yingday had used him to sever her emotions. Presumably she had already advanced to the soul sculpting realm. As such, he no longer owed her anything. Chapter 325. Ning Cheng had already walked far away, before he finally stopped and looked back at the temporary immortal cave that Shi Qianghua had dug out. Even though he had already used a concealment array to completely conceal the cave, he still felt a little upset. Unfortunately, he was still unable to move the mountain with his current abilities. Even if he could move it away, his small world was still too small. He was a nostalgic person. Even if he used his entire life, he might not be able to forget what had happened here. After a long time, Ning Cheng finally turned around. Unbeknownst to him, a woman in a white dress was already standing not far in front of him. She was like a beautiful scenery, the hem of her dress fluttering in the wind. Ning Cheng did not know when this scenery suddenly appeared, but his heart was pounding fiercely. At this moment he was really eager to see Shi Qianghua again, but he did not expect that Shi Qianghua would actually return, and even return to this place. People's thoughts were very strange. Previously, when Ning Cheng found out that he had taken advantage of Shi Qianghua, and Shi Qianghua had regained her ability to move, the first thing he did was to take out the talisman and prepare to escape. But Shi Qianghua did not kill him, and silently walked out of the immortal cave, causing Ning Cheng to be at a loss as to what to do. At this moment, he once again saw Shi Qianghua, but he did not take out the talisman. He also forgot that Shi Qianghua could kill him in seconds. He did not even know how he arrived in front of Shi Qianghua. He looked at Shi Qianghua's delicate and pretty face and did not know what to say. In his mind, an image of himself taking Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei to roam the horizon, bringing them back to Jiangzhou, and then holding a grand wedding in Jiangzhou. When he saw the happy smile on his sister Ruolin's face, he suddenly felt extremely satisfied. At this moment, he was completely immersed in this wonderful feeling. Not knowing for how long, Shi Qianghua, who had been staring at Ning Cheng, suddenly spoke up, "Why didn't you take the escape talisman with you this time?" Ning Cheng suddenly woke up, the longing in his eyes slowly disappeared, he shook his head and did not speak. If Shi Qianghua wanted to kill him at this moment, then even if he could walk away, he did not intend to do so. Although he was killed by Shi Qianghua, he did not have any resentment. The two of them fell silent again. A gentle breeze blew between the two of them as they stood there quietly. There was silence, but it didn't feel like that kind of silence. After a long time, Shi Qianghua once again spoke up, "That 9-colored mirage stone of yours, can you give it to me?" Ning Cheng felt very guilty in his heart, but he did not know what to say. There were some things that could not be resolved with just an apology. At this time, when Shi Qianghua spoke about the 9-colored mirage stone, Ning Cheng did not even think about it, as he took out a jade box and handed it to Shi Qianghua. "This is the 9-colored mirage stone." Shi Qianghua was slightly surprised as she received the jade box. She knew about Ning Cheng. Although Ning Cheng was different from many cultivators, he was very kind. However, he was not a good person who would give things to others casually. The last time he escaped from the Heavenly Dao public square, it was because someone wanted to steal his things. "Such a precious thing, why didn't you ask about the remuneration before giving it to me?" Shi Qianghua looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. Ning Cheng once again shook his head. "In my eyes, even if all the mirage stones in the entire universe were to be added up, it would still not be able to compare to your sorrow. If the mirage stones, or even killing me, could make you happy, then I would not have even half a shred of regret. There are some things that cannot be described with just an apology." Ning Cheng was not an expert in love, but he came from Earth, as such these words came out of his mouth, it was just that he was used to it. But these words were indeed from the bottom of his heart. He felt that he really owed Shi Qianghua. The debt of a disciple was repaid by a master. In the depths of Ning Cheng's heart, it did not make any sense at all. However, Shi Qianghua had never heard such words of love before, causing her eyes to soften. She stared at Ning Cheng, and spoke in a soft voice after a good while, "That is what I was willing to do. If I was not willing, then you would not have been able to do it." Shi Qianghua was not talking nonsense. The moment Ning Cheng entered her body, she had already recovered her strength. At that time, she could have killed Ning Cheng at any time. But she did not. Not only did she not, but instead allowed Ning Cheng to run wild in her body. Ning Cheng opened his mouth, but when the words were about to come out, he swallowed them back down. Shi Qianghua looked at the jade box in her hands, as she calmly looked at Ning Cheng and asked, "You want to ask me why did I save you? Why did I let you do this?" Ning Cheng spoke in a dry voice, "Yes." Shi Qianghua was kind, but she would not use her body to save him. He and Shi Qianghua really did not have such a good relationship. To be exact, the last time Shi Qianghua had saved him, it was the first time he had seen Shi Qianghua. Shi Qianghua did not speak, but once again walked towards the immortal cave that Ning Cheng had just left. As she threw out several array flags, the immortal cave that Ning Cheng had concealed with an array formation once again opened up a passage. Ning Cheng knew that since Shi Qianghua had come here, then she definitely had something to say. He did not think that Shi Qianghua's attainments in array formations would be so high, to the point that it was even more powerful than him. Looking at the house that Ning Cheng had cleaned up, Shi Qianghua was slightly sluggish for a moment. But then she immediately recovered her calmness, while simultaneously taking out a jade table and 2 chairs. Seeing Shi Qianghua sit down, Ning Cheng also sat down. He had been waiting for Shi Qianghua to tell him the reason. "I'm leaving," Shi Qianghua spoke in a slow voice. Ning Cheng was not surprised. Shi Qianghua definitely wanted to go back to the Severing Emotions Dao sect. He had originally planned to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect. "I'm also planning to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect." Ning Cheng did not conceal it. Shi Qianghua's figure was getting deeper and deeper in his heart, to the point that she had already occupied the same position as Ji Luofei. Even he himself did not understand what was going on. However, he knew in his heart that this was not right. He already had Ji Luofei, as such he could not think about Shi Qianghua anymore. However, he found that he really could not ignore the things that had happened. He was simply unable to forget these things. Shi Qianghua shook her head. "I told you, you cannot go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, nor can you look for Su Yingde." Ning Cheng took a deep breath as he looked at Shi Qianghua and spoke. "I am not looking for Su Yingde. I have never really been moved by her. Why would I want to look for her? She saved me, and I have already returned the favor to her. The reason I am going to the Severing Emotions Dao sect is to look for you." Looking at Shi Qianghua, Ning Cheng once again slowly took in a deep breath. "I think I will never be able to forget you in my life, whether you care about me or not." "I heard that you have a fiancé?" Shi Qianghua's tone was very calm. Ning Cheng nodded. "She is called Ji Luofei. She is not my fiancée, but my wife." After a slight pause, Ning Cheng once again spoke out one word at a time. "In my eyes, you are now the same as Ji Luofei, although in your eyes, I am just a profound core ant." Shi Qianghua did not directly answer Ning Cheng's words, as she looked at the entrance of the immortal cave and spoke. "When I said that I wanted to go, it was not to return to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, but to leave the I Ching mainland forever. Or perhaps I will never have the chance to live, so I came back to tell you, do not go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect." "You want to go to Heaven's Way?" Ning Cheng asked in shock. His thoughts changed very quickly. He could even guess why Shi Qianghua wanted to save him. Shi Qianghua had such a high cultivation, yet she spoke such words, and even asked him for a mirage stone. If it was not to go to Heaven's Way, then where else could she go? Shi Qianghua spoke in a dull tone. "Yes, I want to go to Heaven's Way. One of the reasons why I saved you is because of the matter between you and Su Yingde. I had already intervened in it. I am proficient in the art of divination, and I had even divined that you are a kind person. This time's matter, I am also partly responsible for it. I was also affected by the interference of Su Yingde's burning desire. As such, the resistance was not very resolute. You cultivated in a small domain, causing your body to be burnt by the yang qi, and also cultivated the embracing yang god tactic, coupled with Su Yingde's burning desire. At that time, you were still able to find an excuse for yourself. So I did not blame you, and even tacitly agreed with you. I understand the embracing yang god tactic. The embracing yang god tactic was not created by Yan Fenghua alone. Rather, it is an ancient body-forging cultivation method. Even Su Yingde's grandmother is not clear about this matter." Ning Cheng looked at Shi Qianghua in amazement. Shi Qianghua came from the Severing Emotions Dao sect. It was reasonable to say that she should be a junior of Su Yingde's grandmother. Even Su Yingde's grandmother did not know about it, so how did Shi Qianghua come to know about it? Shi Qianghua did not care about Ning Cheng's amazement, and still spoke. "I only came to know about the embracing yang god tactic after I got together with you. The embracing yang god tactic cannot really resolve the burning desire in your body, although it looks like it is temporarily suppressed, but the next time it flares up, it would be even more terrifying. Until you are completely burnt to ashes by the burning desire. The severing emotions Tao sex burning desire can only be resolved by a 9 reincarnated pure Yin body, and I happen to possess a 9 reincarnated pure Yin body. Ning Qing came to know that Shi Qianghua had tacitly agreed with him in order to save him. There was a kind of indescribable thing flowing in his heart, but at the same time he was also angry at Su Yingdai's ruthlessness. Why was the master so kind, while the disciple was so disgusting? The second reason why I saved you is because I originally came here to ask you for help. I want to go to heaven's way, and only the 9-colored mirage stone can give me a chance to survive. After you left the Heavenly Dao public square, I lost track of you. It was not until a few days ago, when I sensed Yingdai's position, that I was able to find you. As Shi Qianghua finished, she gave out a slight sigh. She did not know what was going on in her mind, but she unexpectedly somewhat cared about Ning Qing, thinking that she had saved him entirely for the sake of the Mirage Stone. Can you wait until you go to Heaven's Way? Or wait until you are above the Crucible Transformation Realm? Ning Qing hesitated for a long time before speaking. Shi Qianghua was silent for a long time before she spoke up. I only have a year of lifespan at most. I can no longer wait. What? Ning Qing asked in shock. Shi Qianghua looked so young. How could she only have a year of lifespan? Wasn't it said that after reaching the Crucible Transformation Realm, one's lifespan would be very long? Since Shi Qianghua had already spoken about it, she also did not intend to hide it from Ning Qing. When I started cultivating, a cultivation method automatically appeared in my consciousness. The cultivation method that I cultivate is not from the Severing Emotions Dao sect. It is not even from the I Ching mainland, but it is countless times stronger than the Severing Emotions Dao sect's Severing Emotions cultivation method. You will come to know in the future that this is a kind of reincarnation inheritance. Because my spiritual soul is very powerful, it ended up being targeted by a powerhouse, causing her to suppress a part of my spiritual soul. Ning Qing suddenly stood up as he angrily interrupted Shi Qianghua's words and asked, "Who?" Under Ning Qing's anger, Shi Qianghua unexpectedly became somewhat absent-minded, as she subconsciously replied, "Su Anjin." Chapter 326. Su Anjin is Su Yingdai's grandmother, and is also the person with the highest cultivation in the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Even in the entire I Ching mainland, I am afraid that there is no one with a higher cultivation than her. Shi Qianghua's tone was calm, and one could not hear any hatred in it. However, Ning Qing was able to hear the sadness hidden deep within her heart from her words. When he understood the meaning behind Shi Qianghua's words, and came to know that Su Anjin was Su Yingdai's grandmother, Ning Qing was immediately stunned. Shi Qianghua was a person from the Severing Emotions Dao sect, and was also Su Yingdai's master, so why would Su Yingdai's grandmother want to suppress Shi Qianghua's spiritual soul? Was it because Shi Qianghua did not cultivate the cultivation methods of the Severing Emotions Dao sect? I do not cultivate the cultivation method of the Severing Emotions Dao sect, so strictly speaking, I am also not a person of the Severing Emotions Dao sect. The reason why I am in the Severing Emotions Dao sect is because a part of my life essence was suppressed by Su Anjin. As such, I do not have even half a shred of ability to resist. I have helped the Severing Emotions Dao sect with many things over the years, so no matter where Su Yingdai goes, I will always protect her. As Shi Qianghua spoke till here, she was somewhat distracted, and after a while she continued, "Rather than saying that I am Yingdai's master, it would be better to say that I am her guardian." Although Su Anjin's cultivation was extremely high, her soul was injured. Moreover, the damage to her corporeal body was also very severe. As such, her attacks were also affected. My primordial spirit is powerful and pure. She suppressed my primordial spirit because she wanted to use it for herself. Once she recovers to a certain extent, she would then devour that part of my life essence, and then take control of me to return to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, to become her tonic, to perfect her life essence. With her ability, she should be able to devour my suppressed primordial spirit in about a year. If she can find something like the geocentric 9 essence, then perhaps it would only take half a year or even less. This old pious woman. Even if Ning Cheng's mind had already calmed down, he still could not help but curse out loud. He had initially thought that Shi Qionghua's lifespan had truly come to an end, but it turned out that her life essence was suppressed by that old thing Su Anjun, who even wanted to devour Shi Qionghua's life essence. Shi Qionghu calmly spoke. She doesn't look old. Indeed, like ancestor, like seed. I almost fell in love with Su Yingde, damn it. Ning Cheng cursed, while at the same time blushed with shame for his own temperament. Even if his cultivation was only at the profound core realm, he absolutely had to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect and steal the suppressed part of Shi Qionghua's life essence. When Shi Qionghu heard Ning Cheng's words, she shook her head and spoke. Su Yingde will not dual cultivate with you. Even if you are moved by her, it would still be useless. I've had her for 20 years, and no one knows her better than I do. But that morning, she took off all her clothes and came to my bed. If not for Yin Kongchan's interruption, we would have already entered into dual cultivation. Ning Cheng spoke in doubt. Shi Qionghu took out a jade strip and placed it in front of Ning Cheng. The Severing Emotions Dao sect wants to sever their emotions, so if they meet a person with a firm will, then they would definitely use the intertwining emotion silk. You will unknowingly be infected by her, and even the smaller the matter, the deeper the infection will be. This was the jade slip containing the entanglement silk cultivation method. It was not easy to cultivate this cultivation method. However, after successfully cultivating it, one would not be able to sense it when using it, and it would not require any magic power fluctuations. As long as she reveals even a little bit of something that makes you excited, whether it be words or skin movements, or even the aura of the entire body, or even the smell of the body, it would be able to infect your desires. Ning Cheng immediately recalled the 2 times when he and Su Yingde had made love. It seemed that there was a fragrance that he had not noticed before, as well as Su Yingde's inadvertent exposure of her skin. It turned out that he had unknowingly fallen for Su Yingde's entanglement silk and did not even know about it. No wonder that even though he was facing Yin Kongchan, who was not even half a bit worse than Su Yingde, he did not feel even the slightest bit of emotion. Why did this woman not go to a brothel? You did not let me go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, because you knew that I would not be able to come back, right? Ning Cheng finally understood the meaning of Shi Qionghua's words. Shi Qionghu did not want him to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, not because of Su Yingde, but because of him. Shi Qionghu, seeing that Ning Cheng understood her meaning, also did not conceal it and spoke. Yes, if you go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, then you would only end up in a situation where there is no chance of survival. There is simply no chance of survival. Fortunately, I did not give the Mirage Tree and the Geocentric 9 Yin essence to Su Yingde. Otherwise, wouldn't it have harmed you even more? Ning Cheng spoke out in a joyful voice. Su Yingde had initially asked him for this kind of thing, but fortunately, he had not given it to her. Do you really have a Mirage Tree? Shi Qionghu asked. She was already numb to Ning Cheng's various secrets. She also had a lot of secrets, but compared to Ning Cheng, her secrets were simply not secrets at all. At best, she had a reincarnated inheritance. Yes, I have a 9-colored Mirage Tree. If you have any use for it, then I can give it to you. Ning Cheng spoke without hesitation. Shi Qionghu looked at Ning Cheng's indifferent eyes, causing her heart to jump slightly. Although her cultivation was high, but she had always cultivated under the pressure of the cracks and threats. Otherwise, with her inheritance and qualifications, she would have been able to reach a much higher height than she was now. She did not have any friends, nor did she have any sisters, nor was she particularly happy. Every time she came out of seclusion, the thing she liked to do the most was to silently go to some ordinary cities to help the poor. However, she had never enjoyed the help of others, nor had she ever thought of getting help from others. This time, when she asked Ning Cheng for the Mirage Stones, although it was not planned, but when it really happened, she would rather use her own body to save Ning Cheng in return, rather than kill Ning Cheng and rob him. At this time, Ning Cheng suddenly said that he wanted to give the Mirage Tree to her, causing her to be somewhat absent-minded. It was only after a while that she recovered and spoke. No, the Mirage Tree is very good, but my cultivation is still too low. but that Su Anjin really can use the Mirage Tree. Ning Cheng secretly thanked Yin Kongchan for taking away his ring. If not for Yin Kongchan taking away his ring, how could Su Yingde finally let go of his miniature world ring? Is the geocentric 9 Yin essence useful to you? Ning Cheng once again took out a jade bottle. A bone-chilling aura instantly surrounded the immortal cave. Shi Qianghua immediately knew that this was indeed the geocentric 9 Yin essence. This is useful to me, but it is not very useful. My life essence is being suppressed by Su Anjin. As long as that trace of life essence is suppressed by her, then I would always be under her control. Going to the Heaven's Way is just a helpless move on my part. Even if I do not die after entering the Heaven's Way, I might still be suppressed by her. Shi Qianghua shook her head and pushed the geocentric 9 Yin essence back to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng once again pushed the bottle of geocentric 9 Yin essence back to Shi Qianghua and spoke. Senior apprentice Sister Qianghua, you can take it, I have 2 bottles. Shi Qianghua hesitated for a moment, before she took out a jade bottle, and poured a third of the contents from Ning Cheng's bottle, before she returned the remaining 2/3 to Ning Cheng and spoke. This thing is extremely precious, moreover it is extremely difficult to obtain. I already have this much, you can keep the rest for yourself. Ning Cheng did not push it anymore after putting away the things. He also did not speak again. He was thinking about how to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect and retrieve the trace of life essence that was suppressed by Shi Qianghua. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Shi Qianghua took out a white jade bracelet and handed it to Ning Cheng and spoke. This is what my mother left for me, give it to little sister Lufei. Ning Cheng received the bracelet in surprise and spoke. Senior apprentice Sister Qianghua, you don't blame me? Shi Qianghua showed a faint smile and spoke. I never blamed you. Ning Cheng looked at Shi Qianghua in a daze. He had never seen such a beautiful smile before. Shi Qianghua stood up. She had once again come back, and after talking to Ning Cheng about these things, she suddenly felt a lot more comfortable in her heart. I'm leaving, don't think too much about it. Shi Qianghua's figure was a lot more relaxed this time as she walked out. Ning Cheng could feel that Shi Qianghua was determined to leave, as such he did not urge her to stay, and just silently watched Shi Qianghua leave. In any case, he had to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect and retrieve the trace of life essence that was suppressed by Shi Qianghua. This kind of thing, even if he knew that he would die, he still had to go. He also did not tell Shi Qianghua. He knew that even if he said it, Shi Qianghua would never let him go, moreover it would only make her worry. If he died, then Shi Qianghua would not know about it, as if nothing had happened. They had that white-haired old woman to take care of her. Moreover, he had specifically asked Elder Sister Shu, so Elder Sister Shu would definitely find Li. With Elder Sister Shu's ability, Lufei would definitely not suffer. Other than Lufei, there was no one else worthy of his attention. This time Ning Cheng did not continue to leave this place. After he finished arranging the array formations outside, he directly arranged a spiritual gathering array formation and began cultivating. Ning Cheng's cultivation had already loosened up, but now that he had started cultivating in just half a month, he had already rushed to the great circle of the profound core realm. In order to avoid the thunder tribulation from turning his and Shi Qianghua's residence into slag, Ning Cheng put away all the things here, and once again hid the immortal cave. He was ready to look for a place to cross the tribulation and advance to the soul essence realm. 3 days later, Ning Cheng stopped in an empty field. After checking that there was no one nearby, Ning Cheng began to arrange a large spiritual gathering array. Tens of millions of spirit stones were piled up by Ning Cheng in the middle of the spiritual gathering array, just like a small hill. Ning Cheng had just reached the great circle of the profound core realm, although his foundation was not shallow, but he could not be like Su Yingde, who had severed her emotions to advance, who could attract the thunder tribulation at any time. After cultivating for another week, Ning Cheng finally swallowed the soul-condensing pill. The powerful spiritual qi from the pill and the rich spiritual qi from the spiritual gathering array converged together, just like a long spiritual qi dragon. In just a twinkling of an eye it rushed through the meridians of Ning Cheng's body, directly rushing towards the barrier of the soul essence realm. Unlike the previous advancements, This was the first time that Ning Qing had felt the barrier of his cultivation. It was just like a huge door. Normally he would not even be able to touch it, but now, with the combination of the soul-condensing pill and the rich spiritual qi, it directly rushed to the top. Boom! A roaring sound resounded in his sea of consciousness, as if an iron awl had struck Ning Cheng's heart. Ning Cheng, who was feeling extremely uncomfortable, immediately spurted out a mouthful of blood on the spot. This bombardment had indeed struck the door of the cultivation barrier, but the door of the cultivation barrier only trembled a bit before it once again returned to its original state. It made Ning Qing think of using an egg to smash a stone. What he was doing now was exactly the same as using an egg to smash a stone. Ning Cheng's heart sank. If he continued to attack his cultivation in this way, then relying on this soul-condensing pill, he absolutely would not be able to advance to the soul essence realm. He was also aware that advancing to the soul essence realm would result in a thunder tribulation. For this reason he had deliberately worn a set of armor. But this first impact, even the door of the cultivation barrier could not shake. If such a thunder tribulation were to descend, then it would truly be a strange thing. No, he absolutely had to take advantage of this opportunity to attack the soul essence realm. Only then would he be able to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, otherwise his chances of survival would be even slimmer. After understanding this point, Ning Cheng seemed to have gone crazy. Countless amounts of spiritual qi were being sucked into him, while simultaneously transforming into spiritual qi and true essence. Combined with the medicinal properties of the soul-condensing pill, he bombarded the cultivation barrier again and again. This kind of bombardment, even if it was just once, was enough to make Ning Qing feel uncomfortable to the point of vomiting blood, not to mention continuously bombarding it. Chapter 327. Ning Qing continuously spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood, but the impact on the soul essence cultivation barrier was getting weaker and weaker. Ning Qing felt anxious in his heart. He already knew that even with these tens of millions of spirit stones, as well as the soul-condensing pill that he had just swallowed, it was simply impossible for him to advance to the soul essence realm. It was not that his things were not good, nor was it because he was not well prepared, but the resources that he needed to advance were simply too abnormal. The next time he wanted to advance to the soul-sculpting realm, he absolutely could not rely on just a single pill. Ning Cheng was determined to advance to the soul essence realm, but now that he did not have enough resources, he did not even think about it, and directly took out the broken crystal stone that the old fogey had given him. When the crystal stone fell into his hands, he did not even need to absorb it, as an incomparably pure and rich aura directly rushed into his meridians, breaking through all obstacles, before exploding on the soul essence cultivation barrier. With just this one attack, a crack immediately appeared on the cultivation barrier. Such a powerful crystal stone, Ning Cheng was secretly amazed, as he desperately tried to absorb the broken crystal stone, and continuously used it to attack the cultivation barrier. Kaka! An even bigger crack appeared. Ning Cheng knew that he had opened a small crack on the door to the soul essence cultivation barrier. Boom boom boom. An incomparably loud roar resounded above his head. There was simply no warning, as 9 thick lightning bolts descended. Each lightning bolt was no thinner than a baby's arm. Ning Cheng had not crossed the thunder tribulation. As such, he did not know how powerful the thunder tribulation for the profound core realm to advance to the soul essence realm was, but he had seen a lot of jade strips, and had also heard a lot of experiences. He knew that advancing from the profound core realm to the soul essence realm was a 4 in 9 thunder tribulation, and was also the first thunder tribulation that a cultivator would have to experience. The 4 in 9 thunder tribulation was equivalent to 36 tribulation lightning arcs descending. As long as he could block these 36 tribulation lightning arcs, he would have the opportunity to advance to the soul essence realm. What Ning Cheng did not expect was that his first wave of tribulation lightning would be so terrifying, as 9 tribulation lightning arcs the thickness of a baby's arm descended. These tribulation lightning arcs had not yet fallen on his body, but he could already feel an astonishing tearing force. This kind of destructive aura almost made Ning Cheng suffocate. Ning Cheng did not dare to hesitate for even half a moment, as he threw the broken crystal stone into his ring. bringing out the cosmic true devil axe and bringing out his profound break spear, while the true essence in his body surged to form a true essence shield. Boom ka, boom ka. The thunderbolt exploded onto Ning Cheng's profound break spear, causing Ning Cheng's profound break spear to turn into tofu dregs before it was completely torn apart. After the cosmic true devil axe blocked the two thunder tribulations, it was directly blasted back several hundred feet. Not good, Ning Cheng felt anxious in his heart as he raised his hands and punched out a few times in succession. The formidable axe intent was thoroughly blasted out by his fists, causing an axe-lined fist shadow to form in front of him. Peng Peng Fist Axe's axe-line fist shadow bombarded the Tribulation Thunder arcs, causing 3 of the Tribulation Thunder arcs to dissipate a bit, while his fist was like a piece of fragile firewood, as it broke apart with a catcha sound. The remaining lightning arcs almost at the same time tore apart the true essence shield covering Ning Cheng's body. As for the armor covering Ning Cheng's body, it was as if it was made of paper. Kaka! Sounds of bones breaking erupted, mixed with blood splattering everywhere. The powerful power of the thunder tribulation blasted a huge crater into the ground where Ning Cheng stood. Ning Cheng's heart sank as the threat of death welled up in his heart. He knew that he had not only underestimated the thunder tribulation, but he had also underestimated it by a large margin. He remembered a dream that he had once had, where he had turned to ashes under the power of the thunder tribulation. He had never thought that it would turn out to be true. This was only the first wave of tribulation thunder arcs, and he was already unable to avoid it. As for the later waves, there was no need to say anything about it. This kind of terrifying tribulation thunder arcs, even if he was fully prepared, he would not be able to cross it. The tribulation thunder arcs quickly tore through Ning Cheng's body, and in just a short time, Ning Cheng's bones started to crack inch by inch, causing him to basically lose the ability to resist. Ning Cheng, on the contrary, calmed down. In any case, he could not cross it. Thinking about other things would be in vain. After calming down, Ning Cheng thought of the embracing Yang God tactic, which was a body-forging cultivation method. At this time he was seriously injured to the point that he could not be more seriously injured. Could he use the embracing Yang God tactic to absorb the lightning arcs to temper his body? What made Ning Cheng pleasantly surprised was that the embracing Yang God tactic really worked. After those lightning arcs bombarded his body, it was originally wreaking havoc on his bones and corporeal body, but the embracing Yang God tactic actually turned this kind of destruction into a condensed corporeal body. As long as he continued to operate the embracing Yang God tactic, the power of this tribulation thunder would directly begin to temper his corporeal body. Not only that, he could even feel that his own cultivation was progressing under the influence of this thunder source. If they could live, then no one would be willing to die. Ning Cheng was the same. At this moment, the embracing Yang God tactic crazily revolved, causing the lightning arcs that were tearing through Ning Cheng's body to instantly transform into a thunder source and be absorbed. Ning Cheng struggled to take out a few healing pills and swallowed them down, while at the same time he also took out the essence birthing bamboo pith and poured it into his mouth. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, he did not want to give up. His body was rapidly recovering, his cultivation was also slowly increasing, while his corporeal body was also rapidly condensing. Even Ning Cheng's embracing Yang God tactic, under the influence of the mysterious yellow formless, it allowed him to absorb the thunder source at a much faster rate, allowing his cultivation to progress even more rapidly. But even with this, it was still too slow. Thunder once again resounded in the sky, and when several blue-colored lightning arcs fell down, Ning Cheng's heart had already sunk to the bottom of the valley. He found a sluice gate at the side of a lake filled with water, and began to release the water. Unfortunately, the speed at which he released the water was too slow, as the water gushing in would soon burst the lake once again. But his current thunder tribulation was in such a situation. He had a method to absorb the thunder source, but compared to the terrifying thunder tribulation, this method was simply a drop in the bucket. Not to mention resisting the next wave of thunder tribulation, even with his heavily injured body, he had only recovered a little. Boom boom boom. Another 9 lightning arcs fell one after another. Ning Cheng suddenly felt his Zifu shaking in despair. It was the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Ning Cheng immediately thought of the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort and did not have the time to think about it. He immediately stimulated the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort to go out and resist the lightning arcs. At this time, Ning Cheng was already equivalent to a half-step into the soul essence realm, with a formidable spiritual consciousness, coupled with the fact that he had been refining the everlasting Blue Thunder City. This crazy activation actually blasted out a cyan lightning city shadow. He did not really bring out the levelless Blue Thunder City, rather he only brought out the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City. This shadow was several times clearer than the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City that he had previously brought out, and he could even see the outline of the Thunder City. Ka. The 9 lightning arcs completely fell on the cyan shadow of the Thunder City. A huge roaring sound resounded, as the first 5 lightning arcs were directly absorbed by the cyan shadow of the Thunder City, just like mud falling into the sea, disappearing without a trace. When the 6th and 7th shadow bombarded the cyan shadow of the Thunder City, Ning Cheng felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness, as the cyan shadow of the Thunder City was instantly smashed into slag by the lightning arcs. The 8th and 9th cyan lightning arcs once again bombarded Ning Cheng's body. After experiencing the baptism of the first wave of the Thunder Tribulation, Ning Cheng was no longer as flustered as before. He stimulated his true essence and his axe fist to strike the 2 lightning arcs. Although he was not able to completely disperse the lightning arcs, but he was able to guide the embracing Yang God tactic to absorb the lightning arcs. Although he was already injured, but Ning Cheng's mood was no longer the despair he had after the first wave of the Thunder Tribulation. At least he now had a way to cross the tribulation. The next moment, Ning Cheng had already received the cosmic true devil axe. Under the influence of the embracing Yang God tactic, his corporeal body was constantly being condensed. Ning Cheng himself could feel that his corporeal body was constantly being strengthened, and his ability to resist the tribulation lightning arcs was also constantly increasing. He had once thought that his biggest harvest from entering the Forsaken Land was that unknown iron rod, but now Ning Cheng knew that his biggest harvest from entering the Forsaken Land turned out to be the embracing Yang God tactic. He had not used the embracing Yang God tactic in the Forsaken Land, but he had used it when he was crossing the tribulation. Not only did he use it, but it also became his life-saving unique skill. Boom boom boom, explosions resounded once again. Ning Cheng knew that this was the 3rd wave of lightning arcs descending, causing him to no longer be as nervous and worried as before. With the help of the pills and the essence-birthing bamboo pith, Ning Cheng was able to restore most of his spiritual consciousness and true essence, as he once again brought out the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Another 9 lightning arcs descended one after another, but this time Ning Cheng was already prepared. Of the 9 lightning arcs, the everlasting Blue Thunder City managed to extinguish 7 of them, while the cosmic true devil axe managed to extinguish 1 of them, while the remaining 1 bombarded his body, allowing him to continue to condense his corporeal body, while simultaneously enhancing his cultivation. Ning Cheng could feel that with the condensation of his corporeal body, his body-forging cultivation method had even broken through some of the barriers. Unfortunately, he did not know to what extent he had advanced, as he simply did not know anything about body-forging cultivation methods. In any case, there was still the last wave of the Thunder Tribulation. As long as he could survive this last wave of the Thunder Tribulation, he would then become a genuine soul essence cultivator. Ning Cheng had just thought of this, when explosions resounded above his head, as blue-colored lightning arcs descended one after another. But Ning Cheng soon became dumbfounded. He saw the Thunder Tribulation, but it was not just 9 Thunder Tribulation arcs, he saw 18 Thunder Tribulation arcs with his own eyes. The Thunder Tribulation arcs quickly descended. It simply did not allow Ning Cheng to continue thinking about it. Ning Cheng crazily drove the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City to attack. He knew that even if he went crazy, he would not be able to extinguish these 18 lightning arcs at the same time, causing his heart to once again turn cold. It seems that this Thunder Tribulation was determined to kill him. Before advancing to the Soul Essence realm, he had already made a lot of preparations. He had even asked a lot of Soul Essence cultivators. He knew that advancing to the soul essence realm from the profound core realm would require 4 out of 9 thunder tribulations, but now his thunder tribulation had already reached the level of 5 out of 9. What exactly did this mean? If one person was lying to him, then Ning Cheng did not believe that all the soul essence cultivators were lying to him. Every time the Blue Thunder City absorbed another thunder tribulation, it would increase the burden on Ning Cheng by a lot. When the first 2 tribulation lightning arcs descended on the Blue Thunder City, Ning Cheng knew that he could not go on like this. He had to think of a way. If each of these lightning arcs was a first-class expert, then he would only be equivalent to a third-class low hand. If he could turn these lightning arcs into third-class low hands, then he would not be afraid of them. These thoughts flashed through Ning Cheng's mind in a flash, as he crazily controlled the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City to move. The shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, under Ning Cheng's control, had just touched a tribulation lightning arc, when it was immediately transferred away by Ning Cheng. But this tribulation lightning arc, after being absorbed by the everlasting Blue Thunder City's thunder source, still continued to descend, but compared to the original one, its power was much smaller. Chapter 328. As the 18 tribulation thunder arcs passed by, Ning Cheng finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, this was only a gap of a few breaths, when the dense tribulation thunder arcs descended once again. As the 18 lightning arcs descended once again, Ning Cheng was barely able to control the shadow of the Blue Thunder City, while his sea of consciousness began to feel a tearing pain. The more lightning arcs the Blue Thunder City absorbed, the more difficult it was for him to control it. However, Ning Cheng was very clear in his heart. Once the shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City disappeared, then he would be completely finished. Without the shadow of the Blue Thunder City, under this kind of terrifying tribulation thunder, he was nothing and would be torn to pieces at any moment. Puff, vomiting a mouthful of blood, Ning Cheng felt his sea of consciousness crack open. Even if he crazily operated the embracing Yang God tactic, he still could not hold on. The 18 lightning arcs had not completely passed, when another 9 lightning arcs descended. Boom! A violent shock exploded in Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. His spiritual consciousness seemed to have strengthened several times. Even his true essence had increased exponentially. The tens of millions of spirit stones in the spiritual gathering array, at this moment, completely turned into a spiritual chi mist, which directly poured into Ning Cheng's meridians. With a catcha sound, the golden core above his core lake cracked open at this moment, forming a vague shadow of a soul essence. With his powerful true essence and spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng instantly felt relaxed. The shadow of the Blue Thunder City that was about to disappear not only did not continue to disappear, but instead became even more clear. Ning Cheng finally experienced what was called a glimmer of hope. He had broken through the shackles at the most critical time, and advanced to the soul essence realm. He had heard that when one advanced to the early stages of the soul essence realm, the soul essence would be vague and almost indistinguishable. But he had just advanced to the soul essence realm, yet his soul essence was already incomparably clear. It showed that his strength was definitely far beyond the soul essence cultivators of the same level. When the last 9 tribulation thunder arcs descended, Ning Cheng was completely relieved. With his cultivation at the early stages of the soul essence realm, as long as he did not suffer too many tribulation thunder arcs at once, he believed that he would not die. When the 81st lightning arc was blocked by the everlasting Blue Thunder City, and then fell on Ning Cheng's body, the sky suddenly cleared up. A colorful cloud suddenly appeared over his head, and water droplets fell from the clouds like rain, directly falling on Ning Cheng's body. An indescribable enlightenment flooded Ning Cheng's mind. Ning Cheng's cultivation not only skyrocketed at this moment, but his life essence also quickly solidified. Moreover, his injuries were also rapidly recovering. Even the essence birthing bamboo pith was far inferior to this kind of water droplet. This kind of powerful insight, how could Ning Cheng let it go? His spiritual consciousness was becoming more and more mellow, while his true essence was also getting stronger, while Ning Cheng's magical skills and spear intent were also constantly being perfected. Bang! The enlightenment was interrupted. Ning Cheng found that the rainbow above his head had already disappeared, even the water droplets that were dripping down had also disappeared. Ning Cheng secretly called out in his heart that it was a pity, the time was just too short. Ning Cheng knew that he had safely passed through the soul essence thunder tribulation, although at this time he looked battered and exhausted, with blood stains all over his body, but in his heart he was incomparably happy. As his soul essence continued to solidify, Ning Cheng finally understood what Im Kong Chan and Su Yingde meant when they spoke about it. When one advanced to the essence soul realm and condensed a primordial spirit, one's heart would give birth to an image, or as long as one was a bit more intentional, there would be no obstacles. After another half a day passed by, Ning Cheng finally stood up. He examined himself. Other than growing a bit taller and his body becoming a lot stronger, the rest of his body was not much different from when he was studying in Jiangzhou. Once again feeling his spiritual consciousness and true essence, a feeling that was many times stronger than when he was at the profound core realm surged up. Finally having gained a bit of capital, Ning Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. Now that Jiang Jun dared to be so long-winded, he would not even need to expend any effort, as he could easily crush this guy. Not to mention a soul essence cultivator, even if a soul sculpting cultivator came, so what? In this place, one's cultivation was equivalent to one's courage. Ning Cheng casted several dirt removal techniques and fresh water techniques, and after cleaning himself up, he found that his skin, under such a violent thunder tribulation, not only did it not turn black, but it instead turned even brighter and smoother. It was no wonder that the higher one's cultivation was, the longer their lifespan would be. Every time they advanced, it was equivalent to becoming younger, as such there was no need for any youth-retaining pills. Only when one's cultivation could not keep up with their lifespan, would they gradually age, or would they need youth-retaining pills. After advancing to the soul essence realm, the first thing that Ning Cheng wanted to do was to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect. He could indeed wait until his cultivation was higher, but he knew that according to Shi Qionghua's words, Su Anjin would never wait until his cultivation was higher before dealing with Shi Qionghuo. Shi Qionghuo was also aware of this, as such she went to the Heaven's Way in advance. What's more, even if there was no matter with Shi Qionghuo, Ning Cheng would not wait until his cultivation was higher before going. That would take too long. In his dictionary there was no such thing as a gentleman taking revenge even if 10 years was not too late. For him to take revenge was to seize every moment. Ning Cheng was not an idiot. He was very clear that if he went to the Severing Emotions Dao sect like this, then he would truly be an idiot. It would not be like going to his master Qionghuo to retrieve the suppressed part of her life essence, nor would it be like stealing the heavenly cusp flower, but rather to die, to deliver things to others. Compared to the Severing Emotions Dao sect, it was like a child pitting himself against a strong man. Even if his concealment cultivation method was better, even if he tried to sneak around, if he went there without any preparation, it would only be a dead end. Although he was prepared to die, but he absolutely did not want to die. Compared to the cultivators here, Ning Cheng cherished his own life even more. His fists were far from being comparable to the Severing Emotions Dao sect. He could only use his head to find the right time and place, only then would he have a little chance. In the Battle of the Fei River, Xie Xian only had 80,000 people, but he was able to kill Fu Jian's 800,000 people. It was not because of the size of his fists, but because of the size of his head. What's more, he did not believe that he would not be able to calculate it. After experiencing Su Yingde severing her emotions, after experiencing Shi Qionghuo sacrificing herself, Ning Cheng was no longer the Ning Cheng of the past. He could choose not to harm others, but in this place, it was not enough to rely on not harming others, because someone would definitely come looking for him. When someone blasted him with their fists, his fists would not shrink back. Even if it shrank a bit, it would be more powerful to blast back. This time the Severing Emotions Dao sect took the initiative to provoke him, as such he would not be polite. Do you think that the Severing Emotions Dao sect would look for someone to sever their emotions? Shady people, I can also do it, it's just that I disdain to do it. After advancing to the soul essence realm, Ning Cheng looked for a place with slightly rich spiritual qi, dug out an immortal cave for himself, and continued to go into seclusion. This time Ning Cheng was not stingy. He not only used 10 million spirit stones to arrange a spiritual gathering array, he even took out the broken crystal stone. At this time, it was not the time to be stingy. He had to once again improve his cultivation. One had to say that this broken crystal stone was incomparably heaven-defying. Ning Cheng did not use any pills, but with the help of the 10 million spirit stones and this crystal stone, it only took him 4 months to advance to the soul essence 3rd level. The broken crystal stone in his hand had also become a lot dimmer. Ning Cheng guessed that if he cultivated a few more times, this crystal stone would completely shatter. After advancing to the soul essence 3rd level, Ning Cheng continued to cultivate the concealment method. If he wanted to go to the severing emotions Dao sect, then he would need the most powerful concealment method. Half a month later, Ning Cheng finally stopped his seclusion. It had already been 5 months since he separated from Shi Qianghua. As such, he did not have much time left. As such, it was time to take action. The Grand Peace City was definitely one of the largest true cultivator cities in the Tian continent. Even when compared to the makeshift market of the Heavenly Dao Academy's public square, the Grand Peace City was also famous. It was mainly because the location of the Grand Peace City was just too good. In the vicinity of the Grand Peace City there were 3 major academies: the Red Sun Weapon Sect, the Red Star Sword Faction, and the Star Gathering Mansion. These 3 academies were among the top 10 academies of the Tian continent, and even further away, even the Heavenly Dao Academy and the Severing Emotions Dao sect would often send their disciples here in search of good things. On this day, a very ordinary cultivator arrived at the Grand Peace City. Although this cultivator looked very ordinary, but his actions were not ordinary at all. He spent more than 10 million spirit stones and a large number of precious materials, exchanging them for a lot of obscure materials at the major merchant houses, such as silver void sand, rootless stone, segmented earth. This ordinary cultivator was obviously Ning Cheng. The silver void sand, rootless stone, and segmented earth that he had exchanged for were all life-saving items. These materials were materials for crafting array formations. Moreover, they were also materials for crafting transmission arrays. Ning Cheng's attainments in array formations had barely reached the level of a Tier 7 array formation grandmaster. As such, he could arrange a short-distance transmission array. Coupled with the fact that he was also a talisman grandmaster, he could also refine a transmission array talisman. Because of his limited cultivation, the transmission array talisman that he refined had to be accompanied by a transmission array. Without a transmission array, his transmission array talisman would simply be useless. After purchasing a large number of materials, Ning Cheng arrived at the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce. The Profound Light Auction House belonged to the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce. The Profound Light Chamber of Commerce was not only the largest chamber of commerce in the Grand Peace City, but it was also famous throughout the entire Tian continent. It was second only to the 2 major chambers of commerce, the Wind and Cloud Pavilion and the Silver Links. As such, there was nothing to say about their reputation. Friend, if you really want to consign it, then you can register it with me and then sign a contract with us. You can leave the things here with us, and we will inform you of the next auction. If you want to see our treasurer, then I'm really sorry, but I can't help you here. In the face of Ning Cheng's unreasonable request, the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's receptionist flatly refused. What a joke! If any random person wanted to see the treasurer, then why would the treasurer want to be the treasurer's treasurer? It would be better for him to handle the matter. Ning Cheng did not expect that he would not be qualified to see the treasurer, which made him feel disappointed. If he could not see the treasurer, then he would not be able to carry out his plan. This small Chamber of Commerce's receptionist would not be able to help him achieve the purpose he wanted. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng stood up and walked out. The receptionist, who was responsible for receiving Ning Cheng, on seeing Ning Cheng walk out, sneered. He had seen too many of these kinds of people. All of them thought that their things were treasures, and regarded themselves as some kind of character, but in the end, they only brought out a few ordinary goods. What he did not expect was that Ning Cheng suddenly opened the door and stood in front of the door and suddenly spoke in a loud voice. Since the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce is so arrogant and is not willing to take a step forward, then it would be better if I never came here. I will go look for the Silver Links Chamber of Commerce. I believe that they would be very interested in my things, because they know how valuable my things are. Chapter 329. If no one came out after this shout, then Ning Qing decided to change to another house. Although the auction would be smaller, and the risk he would have to take would increase, and the possibility of his plan failing would also increase, but he still had to do this. What's the matter? A slightly hoarse voice arrived. Ning Qing immediately knew that this was definitely an expert from the profound light chamber of commerce, but he did not see where the person who spoke was. However, as long as someone responded, then it was a good thing. Regardless of where the other party was, Ning Qing directly cupped his fists and spoke. I have two very precious things, and wanted to discuss them directly with the treasurer of your association. It's just that your association refused my request, and decided to sell my things as ordinary items. Oh, does this mean that you are very confident in your things? The hoarse voice showed a hint of interest. Ning Qing spoke in a clear voice. Of course, if I did not have confidence, then I would not dare to come here to embarrass myself. Since you are so confident, then come to my place. I am the treasurer of the profound light chamber of commerce. This time the voice was even clearer. Ning Qing already knew which room the other party was in. Ning Qing looked back at the shop assistant who had contacted him before, with a respectful look on his face. With his head bowed, he knew that the person who spoke should not have lied to him. Ning Qing soon saw the treasurer of the profound light chamber of commerce. This treasurer looked like he was in his 40s, with a goatee at the corners of his mouth. Ning Qing knew that it was all an illusion. Even if he did not check the cultivation of this person, Ning Qing, from the imposing manner of this treasurer, guessed that this person was at least in the sea-opening realm. In this room, in addition to the treasurer, there was another old man. This old man looked at Ning Qing with interest and suddenly spoke. You just said that if the profound light chamber of commerce does not accept your things, then you can go to my silver links chamber of commerce to put them up for auction. I really am very interested in your things. Ning Qing slightly paused. He did not think that the people from the Silver Links Chamber of Commerce would be here. For Ning Qing, the people from the Silver Links Chamber of Commerce were here, which was even better. I want to auction two things because I did not obtain much this time. I hope to get a high price. Ning Qing's words were not finished when he was interrupted by the goatee. My profound light chamber of commerce sells things. There is no such thing as a low price. You can talk about what your things are. I hope that your item can really correspond to what you just said. His tone was a bit cold, meaning that if Ning Qing tried to sensationalize them, then don't blame him for being impolite. Ning Qing calmly spoke. The first thing I want to put up for auction is 3 drops of geocentric 9-ene essence. What? The goatee and the old man from the Silver Links auction house stood up at the same time, as they stared at Ning Qing with fiery eyes. The main reason was that Ning Qing's words were simply too amazing. Was the geocentric 9-ene essence something that one could easily obtain? Even in their auction, they had never of such thing. Auction before. Auction Ning Qing to such things, they say. Previously, when Ning Qing said that he could take the Chamber of Commerce to the next level, it was simply a modest statement that could not be more modest. If it, then Qing of it, they that the of Ning would the star. Of the sect, the auction would the auction. Even the Qing to wind pavilion of the Qing. King the Qing I Ning also to the sect. Of it. The Ning of the Qing of, to put the sect. Ning Qing's eyes also revealed a trace of pride. Of course, but unfortunately I only have 3 drops. As long as we cooperate happily this time, I can even introduce my Dao companion to you. In any case, maybe there might even be a geocentric 9-ene essence for auction. Of course, if your profound light chamber of commerce really does not want to cooperate with me, then forget about it. Ning Qing seemed to have spilled the beans as he quickly changed the subject. The reason why he only took out 3 drops of geocentric 9-ene essence was because he knew that even if Su Anjin obtained these 3 drops of geocentric 9-ene essence, it would not be enough. The old man from the Silver Links Chamber of Commerce looked at Ning Qing. He hated Ning Qing for not going to the Silver Links Chamber of Commerce first. But this place was the domain of the profound light chamber of commerce. Even if he longed for it in his heart, he had no way to intervene. Can you let me see this thing first? The goatee spoke with excitement. Ning Qing did not hesitate to take out an exquisite jade bottle and put it on the table. Once the jade bottle was taken out, a cold and threatening aura immediately dissipated. The goatee trembled as he reached out to take the jade bottle in his hands, while simultaneously opening the cap. In just a moment, he once again covered the jade bottle. This was definitely the geocentric 9 essence. He was confident that he had not seen it wrong. It really is the geocentric 9 essence. The old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce spoke out in shock. Although Ning Cheng's cultivation was somewhat vague, but it was definitely not high. Such a young man was unexpectedly able to come up with such a peerless treasure. Since we have accepted this thing, what are your requirements? The goatee was simply reluctant to put down the jade bottle. Ning Cheng calmly spoke up, I have already said it before, I want my things to be sold at a high price, so you have to prepare a separate auction for my 2 things. Not only do you have to prepare it, but you also have to do it on a large scale, and invite the powerhouses of the major academies to come over, only then would you be able to sell it at a high price. No problem, what is the other thing? The goatee hurriedly asked. Ning Cheng took out a small branch that was only 2 inches long and spoke, this is it. A faintly discernible aura came out from this branch. It was as if it was an illusory illusion, causing the goatee and the old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce to feel somewhat confused. This is a branch of the 9-colored mirage tree. The old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce was very knowledgeable. As such, he was able to recognize what Ning Cheng had taken out, causing him to speak up in an incomparably shocked voice. Ning Cheng spoke up with even more pride. That's right, this was given to me by my Dao companion. This is the other treasure that I obtained by chance, a 2-inch long branch of the 9-colored mirage tree. The goatee quickly took out a jade box, and as if it was the most precious treasure, he immediately put away the branch of the 9-colored mirage tree. At this time, his eyes could no longer be described as fiery, rather it could be described as fanatical. This is our auction house's most distinguished jade card. From now on you will be the most distinguished guest of our profound light auction house. These 2 things, we can absolutely carry out the auction in accordance with your requirements. If you have any requests, just tell me directly, I will definitely be able to help you. The goatee had already treated Ning Cheng like an ancestor. Ning Cheng was still young and competitive, as such he accidentally revealed that he had obtained these things from his Dao companion. Good, I really did not come in the wrong, I only have one request. That is, I want the geocentric 9 essence and the 9-colored mirage tree to be promoted at the same time, the wider the better, moreover the auction will be held in a month's time. Because at that time, everyone would know about it, only then would I be able to sell my things at a high price. Ning Cheng spoke in a very high-spirited manner. The goatee patted his chest and spoke, I, Song Yi, assure you that the profound light chamber of commerce will definitely be able to achieve this. Not to mention that these 2 things would give the profound light chamber of commerce a share of the profits, even if there were no profits, just by auctioning these 2 things, it would be able to bring the profound light chamber of commerce to the next level. Are you Ning Cheng? The old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce suddenly stared at Ning Cheng as he spoke. Ning Cheng gave a smile. Ning Cheng? That kid is not as lucky as me, he is just a profound core ant. However, I can tell you that the 9-colored mirage tree was indeed obtained from Ning Cheng. As for how I obtained it, I'm sorry, I will not say it. I believe that the profound light chamber of commerce would also not ask me where I obtained it from, right? Saying that, the imposing aura coming from Ning Cheng's body grew even more powerful, to the point that it was comparable to a cultivator in the soul-sculpting realm. Song Yi quickly spoke up, of course, my profound light chamber of commerce is a gold-lettered name, how could we ask our guests about such things? Even the origin and information of our guests, we are also strictly confidential. Ning Cheng nodded, and that's good. Seeing Ning Cheng's imposing manner, the old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce knew that the person in front of him should not be Ning Cheng. Initially at the Heavenly Dao Academy's public square, Ning Cheng only had the cultivation of profound core 8th level. Even if he was a genius cultivator, it would still be impossible for him to reach the soul-sculpting realm so quickly. What's more, he was just an ordinary soul-sculpting cultivator. How could they not see his cultivation? Because the next time I come, I will be selling a longer branch of the 7-colored mirage. Someone has already promised me, so I will definitely bring it to you. So this time, although the 2-inch mirage tree is advertised, but it will not be put up for auction. Wait until I get my hands on the longer branch of the 7-colored mirage tree, then we will put it up for auction. In order to express our gratitude to the profound light chamber of commerce for the auction of the geocentric 9-in essence, I am willing to come up with half of the commission. Ning Cheng put forward another proposal. Not to mention that Ning Cheng's proposal would only bring benefits to the auction. Even if it was somewhat troublesome, it was impossible for Song Yi to not agree to Ning Cheng's words. Many thanks to this friend. I do not know how to address this friend. Song Yi spoke out in an extremely straightforward manner. Ning Cheng was willing to come up with half of the commission. It was obvious that he was a forthright person. What's more, there were even more of these things coming. How could he not know how to behave? Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and spoke, "My surname is Kang." "Good, then elder brother Kang, shall we sign the contract now?" Song Yi did not know which Kang was Ning Cheng's surname. The eyes of the old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce flickered as he watched Ning Cheng and Song Yi sign the auction contract. He sneered in his heart. The profound light auction was indeed a big one. If not for him being here today, then it would have been a strange thing for this person surnamed Kang to be able to peacefully participate in the auction. With this kind of cultivation, daring to bring this kind of thing to the auction, it was simply courting death. What was the use of a paper contract? Ning Cheng put away the contract before he suddenly sighed and spoke. "Actually, I believe in the profound light chamber of commerce. As such, it does not matter whether we sign the contract or not." "How can that be?" "The contract must be signed. My profound light auction's credibility is first and foremost." Song Ye's eyes narrowed into a line. Ning Cheng suddenly took out a crystal ball and spoke. "The process of us discussing the contract, I recorded it with the crystal ball. In fact, it really does not matter whether we sign it or not." Song Yi and the old man from the Silver Lynx Chamber of Commerce discovered that they had simply underestimated Ning Cheng. If the profound light chamber of commerce dared to break the contract, then the other party could just make a copy of the crystal ball and then scatter it everywhere, causing the profound light chamber of commerce to be completely finished. What's more, if they could use the crystal ball to record it under their noses, then wouldn't it be very simple? "Then I will take my leave first. I will always pay attention to the profound light chamber of commerce's publicity," Ning Cheng said with a smile, before he quickly walked out. He had only started the first step of his plan. A month's time, for him, was already very tight. "Elder brother Song, this Zhuang will also take his leave." The old man, on seeing Ning Cheng disappear, quickly followed out. Song Yi sneered. He did not even have the time to look for someone, as he also followed out. But he was soon dumbfounded. In his spiritual consciousness, other than that person surnamed Zhuang, where was Ning Cheng's shadow? Moreover, when he saw that person surnamed Zhuang, he immediately knew that the other party had also lost him. Chapter 330. Ning Cheng was not in Great Peace City at this time. He had changed his appearance into a pale-faced noble young master dressed in grand robes. The place he was at was the West Lu Market that was only a few hundred li from Great Peace City. For cultivators, a distance of several hundred miles was very close. From a certain point of view, the West Lu Market existed specifically for Great Peace City. Great Peace City was prosperous and the land was unusually expensive. Many people wanted to do business in Great Peace City, but they did not have enough capital. Because of this, the West Lu Makeshift Market was born, and the West Lu Makeshift Market had many merchant houses that purchased spirit herbs and materials. Trading here was fast, and there weren't any formation arrays or restrictions on flying. Some roaming Xiao that obtain materials would rather come here to trade than go to Great Peace City. As time passed, more and more shops appeared here, giving rise to restaurants, inns, and other kinds of places. In the end, it became a marketplace without walls. This kind of open-air market could be found in any continent, but there were not many of them as big as the West Lu Market. The largest spiritual tea house in the West Lu makeshift market was the West Lu Spiritual Tea House. The reason why many cultivators gathered here every day was not only because this place provided the most complete range of spiritual tea and spiritual wine, but also because there were all kinds of information here. Where would the mystic realms appear? Where would the treasures appear? Why would they need to form a team? Rogue cultivators would come here to gather information and then find a team to leave with. When Ning Cheng came in, the lobby of the West Lu Spiritual Tea House was already filled with all kinds of cultivators. Ning Cheng squeezed into a place with a lot of people and asked for a pot of very good spiritual tea. Seeing the few true condensation and essence-building realm rogue cultivators around him, Ning Cheng proudly waved his hand towards the waiter and said, "Meeting each other is predestined. Help these friends to get a pot of spiritual tea just like mine, and count it on me." Hearing that Ning Cheng wanted to treat them, several cultivators who did not know Ning Cheng cupped their fists and thanked him. Looking at Ning Cheng's luxurious robes, a cultivator dressed like a young master, he definitely came from a good place. This kind of cultivator loved the envious gazes of others and the flattering words of others. The waiter soon brought over a few pots of spiritual tea. Under Ning Cheng's deliberate efforts to befriend them, the few of them quickly became familiar with each other. "I, Tong Du, really like to make friends with forthright friends like you. Many thanks to this friend's spiritual tea. These days I am a bit short on money, but the next time I am a bit more relaxed, I will definitely invite you to have a cup of tea." A horse-faced cultivator drank half of the spiritual tea from Ning Cheng in one gulp, before speaking out in a forthright manner. For an early-stage essence-building cultivator like him, such a pot of spiritual tea was a very good thing. The rest of the people were also like Tong Do, as they drank the spiritual tea that Ning Cheng treated them to, while at the same time making empty promises and compliments. Ning Cheng proudly spoke, "It's nothing, I like to make friends with people from all over the world. In Crimson Star, in the sect, I can be considered to be doing quite well. This bit of spirit tea is really not worth mentioning." Although Ning Cheng promptly changed his words, but the people around him were able to tell that Ning Cheng was definitely from the Red Star Sword faction. 4 rogue cultivators like them, even if they came from a small academy, it would be very difficult for them to join, not to mention the Red Star Sword faction, which was one of the top 10 academies of the Tian continent. For a time, the surrounding cultivators started to talk to Ning Cheng. It seemed that they knew that Ning Cheng liked to be praised by others, as all kinds of praises poured out, making Ning Cheng feel as if the Yellow River was overflowing. Some of the cultivators even took the initiative to take out some spiritual wine to invite Ning Cheng to drink, but Ning Cheng did not refuse any of them. Along with a few pots of inferior quality spiritual wine, Ning Cheng's words also started to get louder and louder. "You don't have to praise me like that. In fact, although I am quite good in the academy, but compared to others, I am still far from it. It is not just 1 or 2 points. It seemed as if the wine had already hit him, as Ning Cheng stood up, raised the pot of wine and drank it down, before speaking in a tipsy voice. "Do you know about the Severing Emotions Dao sect? Their academy is truly a good academy. Who can curry favor with the Severing Emotions Dao sect? Heh, my senior apprentice brother. No, this matter cannot be casually spoken about." Ning Cheng seemed to know that this kind of thing was not something that he could casually speak about, as he gave a drunken burp and sat down again. Ning Cheng had just sat down, when a few pots of spiritual wine were brought in front of him. Tong Do, who had just said that he was a bit short on money, had brought out 2 pots of spiritual wine. Moreover, it was the strongest kind of spiritual wine. As if feeling the enthusiasm of the others, Ning Cheng once again drank a pot of strong wine, before speaking in a low voice. "I will tell you a piece of top-secret news. You must not casually speak about it." "We will definitely not speak about it." Several heads squeezed in and spoke in a low voice. Ning Cheng had come out from a major academy, as such they had not experienced all kinds of risks, as such they had seen a lot of second-generation ancestors. They all had this kind of moral character, but this kind of second-generation ancestor really did know some things that they, as rogue cultivators, did not know. "Let me tell you, do you know which academy has the most popular son-in-law? It is the Severing Emotions Dao sect. You can't believe it, right? My senior apprentice brother Kang's Tao companion is from the Severing Emotions Tao sect. His Tao companion not only gave him the geocentric 9 essence, but also gave him a branch of the 9-colored mirage tree. You can't even think about it. Ning Cheng's words had not yet finished when he was interrupted by countless boos. It would be strange if they believed this kind of nonsense. Some of the people had completely lost interest. They had thought that Ning Cheng was going to say something earth-shattering, but it turned out that it was just this kind of unreliable words. It was simply nonsense. The geocentric 9 essence and the branch of the 9-colored mirage tree, any one of them was one of the most precious things in the entire I Ching mainland. How could a disciple casually give it to others? You don't believe me? What I said is true. Ning Cheng, on seeing that the others did not believe him, immediately blushed, as his tone also became louder. It's not that we don't believe you, but who in the Severing Emotions Tao sect doesn't know that you have to fall in love before you can sever your emotions? Your senior apprentice brother Kang must have fallen in love with someone, and will have to sever his emotions in the future, right? Why would someone give such a thing to your senior apprentice brother? Besides, even if the Severing Emotions Tao sect had such a good thing, why would they give it to a disciple? Someone immediately spoke out in disdain. That's right, these things are so precious, why would they give it to an ordinary disciple? The person next to him echoed. Ning Cheng retorted in a very unhappy manner. My senior apprentice brother Kang's Tao companion is also a core disciple in the Severing Emotions Tao sect. As long as a core disciple performs meritorious deeds, they would be able to get 1 to 3 drops of the geocentric 9 essence, as well as a branch of the 9-colored mirage tree. Right, I forgot to mention the spiritual enhancement true nectar. The Severing Emotions Tao sect also has a lot of it. A late-stage essence-building cultivator gave a smile. This friend, although you come from a major academy, and are much better than us rogue cultivators. But why did I hear that the 9-colored mirage tree and the spiritual enhancement true nectar belong to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciple Ning Cheng? Moreover, Ning Cheng is being hunted down, and has long since gone into hiding somewhere unknown. The surrounding people burst into laughter. Ning Cheng stood up in anger. You simply do not know. This kind of thing is only known to the disciples of our major academies. These things indeed belong to Ning Cheng, however, they now belong to the Severing Emotions Tao sect. Don't not believe it, senior apprentice brother Kang had already told me. The Severing Emotions Tao sect's true inheriting disciple Su Yingde successfully severed her emotions on Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng's emotions were severed. Of course he was crippled, but his things were not crippled. Seeing the dumbfounded expressions of the surrounding people, Ning Cheng became even more proud. You don't know about this news, do you? Hee, not to mention you, even some of the major academies do not know about it. Senior apprentice brother Kang only came to know about it because he has a Tao companion who is a core disciple of the Severing Emotions Tao sect. After Ning Cheng's things were taken away by the Severing Emotions Tao sect, the Severing Emotions Tao sect, according to the contributions of each disciple, these things were then rewarded to the disciples of the academy. That is absolutely impossible. Do you know how precious these two things are? Someone once again refuted, but this time after he refuted, no one immediately stood up to support him. Ning Cheng looked at the rebuttal cultivator with disdain and spoke. Do you know how much geocentric 9 essence Ning Cheng has? He has a full 100 barrels. Do you know how big a barrel is? Even if I told you, you would not know. Do you know how big a 9-colored mirage tree is? I estimate that you would never be able to imagine it in your lifetime. If you do not believe me, then you can go to the Heavenly Tao Academy's public square and inquire about it. Ning Cheng had sold a barrel of spiritual enhancement true nectar in the exchange hall of the Heavenly Tao Academy's public square. If he had not done such a thing before, would you dare to believe that a person would be able to come up with so much spiritual enhancement true nectar? If you have not seen the world, then don't talk nonsense. If you still do not believe me, then you can go and inquire about whether Su Yingde has advanced to the soul sculpting realm or not. She successfully severed her emotions on Ning Cheng's body, and has already advanced to the soul sculpting realm. The onlookers finally became a little restless, although most of them did not believe it, but Ning Cheng's words were very convincing. Moreover, the matter of the Severing Emotions Dao sect going to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to arrange a marriage between Ning Cheng and Su Yingde was already an open secret. Then how do you know about it so clearly? Someone finally asked. Idiot, this person's senior apprentice brother Kang's Dao companion is a core disciple of the Severing Emotions Dao sect. This time Ning Cheng did not need to answer, as someone took the initiative to help him answer. Ning Cheng once again grabbed the jug of wine on the table as he drank a few mouthfuls and spoke, I will tell you another secret. After my senior apprentice brother Kung obtained 3 drops of geocentric 9-ene essence and a little branch of the 9-colored mirage tree, he entrusted the profound light chamber of commerce to auction them off. If you do not believe me, then you will know about it in a month's time. I am a dignified disciple of one of the top 10 academies. Why would I lie to people? You really make me feel very uncomfortable, as such I don't want to make friends with you. Ning Cheng muttered to himself as he staggered out of the spiritual tea house. This person really talks nonsense. As soon as Ning Cheng came out, someone immediately ridiculed him with disdain. You cannot say that he is 100% talking nonsense, at least the matter between Ning Cheng and Su Yingde might be true. Just go and inquire about whether Su Yingde has advanced to the soul sculpting realm or not. Funny, what is the use of you talking about this? Even if the Severing Emotions Dao sect has such a thing, what does it have to do with us low-leveled rogue cultivators? When Ning Cheng left, he felt very relieved. Even if no one in this spiritual tea house believed his words, these words would definitely spread out. What powerful, of course, were just rumors. Ning Cheng came from Earth. As such, how could he not know about the fearsomeness of rumors? Even if it was a dead rumor, after a period of time, it would definitely become a living rumor. Since he had planted this seed, then it would definitely germinate. Of course, he did not need to find someone with a high cultivation level to spread this rumor. In this spiritual tea house, there were many qi gathering, true condensation and essence building cultivators. As such, it was the best choice to spread this rumor. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.